right. We're gonna start with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
So I just wanted to go over really quick all of our notes from our last meeting, which were basically just the going over with the tournament, the Mary Grant, and a little bit in regards to the tree lighting. And then the Dasco Signs was donating a sign for us. Everybody that approves those meetings notes? All in favor? Aye. Perfect. Okay, so for this week, with the tournament, everything seemed to go well. I know we had a couple of the comments that we heard, you know, that might have been the slightly negative ones, but for the most part, everything that we received were all positive. I know both Shapley and Berwick had an amazing time while they were here. They were very thrilled. They can't wait to do it again next year. So with that being said, next year I was kind of looking at the dates if we did the same weekend, the 14th, 15th.
Yeah, if we get more teams, we'll probably have to do Sunday. Because Saturday, that felt like the perfect length.
Yes.
You start adding on more teams, no one wants to go to 7 o'clock.
No, and it was kind of the thought of,
That was perfect. That was, you know, it was a long day, but it wasn't.
People still had their Saturday after. They weren't like crashed and go home, you know?
it was 2 o'clock and they were done, 3 o'clock we were done. Be one of those that kind of thinking, like TJ and I had talked about at the beginning, that he was kind of planning for this one was going to be, Saturday was the elimination game, Sunday was the actual tournament per se day, was the finals. So it'd be kind of the same layout again. If that works for you, we can kind of tentatively schedule those dates into the calendar. So the 14th, 15th again, because then we'll have that one weekend left after to do our ceremony weekend.
Should we look at that and see if it's Columbus Day weekend?
It's not.
Or is that an issue? Okay.
Nope, the Columbus Day weekend's the weekend before.
There you go.
That was something I looked at before I even put the dates down. Yep.
We're starting to become planners, yes.
I'm putting everything as we go. I'm actually writing on the calendar so that when it hits for next year, it's already on the calendar of when we started, so that we have an idea of all of it, which,
We collect fees from other towns for this?
nope,
No?
it was,
For the trophies?
we did.
We did.
Yep.
I've had a couple of people approach me on that and asked whether the other towns are paying fees for that and why Acton is paying for trophies for other towns to come in.
Because it was, in our way of looking, it was our way of being able to expand and give our kids more of an experience, to be able to do more. And again, it's all about the kids, so if we have the little bit of funding to be able to do something, I'd rather be able to do something and present it for everybody to come and play.
It was our tournament too.
Yep, it was our tournament, so usually the ones that are hosting the tournaments are the ones that usually put out more.
Just so we have an idea, what did you spend on trophies? I mean, my understanding was that was pretty minimal in the end.
It was, I think, was a total of like $237 or something for all of it. And we didn't,
Yeah.
yep, that was the medals and the trophies, yep.
I think that's reasonable. I think, you know, if this really begins to take off, and I don't mean
Yeah.
this next season, but maybe we start doing just a small entry fee to cover expenses, and I don't think that would cast any, you know, pall on attendance, but I think let's just get this under our belt, because I think it really was a success.
And I think the kids had a blast. The parents, I didn't really hear any complaints from the parents. So if we can just expand, and it only helps our kids in the long run, especially where we didn't do any traveling this soccer season, it helps our kids be able to get more experience. I know Shapley made their teams just for this event. They don't do soccer normally. They send them through Massabesic United.
They look good too.
They did
Their
awesome.
uniforms look good. They swept the floor with most of us.
Berwick.
I was happy and sad that our teams didn't do a little bit better, but a lot of the games were close. But anyway, I was really happy for them.
Yeah.
Well, Shapley charged their players for this, right? So, yeah, so we shouldn't charge an entry fee, I don't think.
Well, it would end up going, if we end up looking at doing an entry fee,
What did Shapley charge for their players?
I think it was like $20.
Per
Yeah.
person to play?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because their
Cover
uniform,
the cost of your.
The uniforms and that, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think people
They were sharp.
would want to pay to get in.
Yeah, because they do all of that.
Most tournaments, there is.
Most tournaments.
Oh, is there?
there's an entry fee.
I think the biggest thing that people have come to me on is that it seems like that we're spending money on some things that are not town-related, and where it is a town-funded, the Acton Rec is town-funded, that people are questioning why we're paying for certain things, being that it's not our
I think-
It makes
town.
sense for a
the
town
only-
tournament,
That's
though.
the only thing that we've spent money on that wasn't technically town-related, even though it was town-related, because it was our town tournament.
Yeah, but I've had people asking about the
Who
towns
was
and coming
asking? Who
in.
was asking?
I'm not gonna say people's names.
Okay.
Well, I don't know why they don't go to Sam,
Huh?
but I don't know why they're not
If
going
there's
to
concerns, I
Sam.
wish they would come to me.
Yeah,
I've told them to go to you, and
So-
I've told them to go to the selectmen, but, they've asked me to bring these things up
Okay.
at meetings. and-
So-
No,
This is-
totally respect that too,
Yeah.
and it's understandable. I just think we're getting, this is all new to us.
Right.
And I think our kids do benefit, otherwise.
Oh, I agree
It's just,
completely.
10 kids playing against.
Right.
10 kids that they've been practicing with all year,
Those-
so it does expand their horizons. I think it benefits everybody. But, maybe next year we see if there's a lot of growth, and then
I don't-
next
yeah.
year we
Let's
can start
revisit next
charging.
I don't think there's
an
anything wrong
entry
with charging
fee.
a small entry fee. It's not like we had a lot of overhead, the metals,
right.
Right.
We didn't do the food, we did water.
a bunch of cans of paint.
Yeah.
Right, and that was basically our
Right.
overhead. It's all our own time, TJ and I did the fields,
Which turned out amazing.
so
Yes.
Minimal overhead.
minimal overhead, so if we charged a very small fee to get in, I don't think Berwick or Shapley or.
No, their sports directors are amazing. They wouldn't
are
kick
gonna
up a fuss.
say, you know what, we can't give you $30 to come to your tournament.
Can I propose two things? So we revisit the topic next year, depending on how many teams we have. And then also just complete transparency for video recording to the selectmen. We go, this is how much money it's gonna cost.
Right.
Everyone can see what we're spending. If
Because
that's
we
an
have a-
issue, then we can revisit and everyone's like, hey, you spent 400 on trophies. That's a problem with us. And we'll go, okay, so what should we charge to get in? So let's cross that bridge when we get
Talk to
there.
the
have a
people too,
budget.
to the
Yeah.
other directors.
I think we need to keep in
And talk to the
mind,
other directors.
Yeah, yep.
But we,
as a group, we need to keep in mind that we do have a budget.
we do have a
Right,
budget.
And we're always asking for donations, so
Right.
we're offsetting a lot of that, but we
Right.
do have a budget for these things.
We do, and-
If the selectmen want to question how we're using those funds, absolutely, we can
Yeah,
address that.
complete transparency.
Well,
But I would like to have a bulletin board or a little shelf somewhere in this hall where we can display what's going on. The trophies were, they were really cute.
They were really, really cute, but it was perfect.
It wasn't.
Well, no, but next
big,
year it'll have to be.
these little cute things, and I think we could.
We have one left over.
The medals and things.
Yeah, the
into
kids
here, and
love
some of
the medals.
photos, from
a great
baseball
idea.
and tumbling and from soccer, just so people can see where their money's being spent, because I do agree with you, Lori, but I think.
Because so one of the things that helped to offset it is we had a budget of $200 for soccer, for new soccer balls. We didn't buy any new soccer balls this year. We didn't need any new ones. So that $200 basically covered all of the trophies for the tournament that we did. And every meeting that we do have, we do go over what we've had for money-wise, what we've deposited back, what we've, taken out and whatnot. Because we did just empty the entire box, and by emptying the entire box, it was $177 that went back into our account. And then we also had the $100 vendor fee from Mel's Diner that went into it as well. So we can look at doing that. I also, speaking of pictures, or going to the medals, there are so many kids that wore their medals to school that following week. That's awesome. It was crazy, like all of a sudden, like all the kids that would come on the bus, you could tell the ones that did the rec because they were wearing them. And some of them wore their soccer jerseys. If they knew they had their games on Saturday, they were wearing their soccer jerseys on Friday. I loved
was
it.
nice.
That sends a really nice
was
message.
nice.
And they have the assembly every Friday at the school, so they're wearing their soccer jerseys at the assembly, or their rec t-shirts.
Yeah, you were there, all a bunch of them.
Right, just this closing ceremony.
Yeah.
All of those little kids getting their trophy and getting their certificate. You guys, the coaching staff was really brilliant in doing
Yes.
that. And especially
I loved
the
how-
really little ones, they couldn't wait to get it, and they were just like,
Right.
out of their skin and running back to their parents. It was just like a proud moment.
And I loved the certificates. I loved how everybody did them and how everybody did their own thing. So that it kind of went more towards their coaching style.
Yeah.
And how they were coaching with the kids and knowing the kids. It was great. We also got, because we didn't do sponsors for soccer, Kate actually still did us the wood framed pictures. So I have every team picture from soccer on a wood frame. And I want to find out if there's a place here in Town Hall that we can put them up. Because while we can put them up in the shack, nobody's going to ever see them. I'd rather them see them here.
They belong here.
They belong here, so I,
Come in for meetings.
Make it like
and
Poor
for
People's
voting.
Pub. You guys been
Yeah.
to Poor People's Pub, all Wakefield sports?
see, I would love if we can talk to the Town Hall about maybe putting them in here or something. So that way we can have, maybe we can do a spot that can be like the rec wall or whatnot. That way they can see what we're doing, and all of the kids that are joining. I mean, we had, was it 72 or 77 kids or something this soccer season? So that's been huge. Kind of going back at the small entry fee, we'd want to do that before we end up getting together with other towns, because we'd want to give them a heads up. What is everybody's thinking process on what we should look at?
Can we revisit when we know how many teams are interested?
that-
If we only have 4 teams interested and it's within our budget, because we'll be transparent with our budget, then we don't need to.
Okay.
If it's looking like we need to, then maybe we discuss
Okay.
then.
So I have a question on that.
Let's just put it on our,
We have our budget is due
Like,
the end of January.
Yep, we're going to be bringing that to the next meeting.
I think it was actually like a nice thank you because like a lot of these teams drove out to us every
Right.
single game.
That's what I thought
And
too,
for
yeah.
us to cover was a nice kind of thank you where they literally drove an hour every single weekend to come to be with
Our
us.
parents were not willing to do that.
Where we didn't drive to them, it was a nice thank you to end everything, you know, because
Kinda forgot
they
about
are
that.
putting out a lot of money
Yeah.
with just travel expenses to come to
Our
us.
folks were
They were amazing.
really happy to come here, and this is their closest game. They had some 2.5 hours away.
Yeah.
And speaking of Berwick, I have,
2.5 hours?
yes.
And they're a homeschool group,
And
they're, you know, they're just.
Yeah, they go up to like Brunswick and that. And speaking of Berwick, they were not able to assemble a team for basketball. I don't think that they were able to get an area for practice, so the team didn't come together. So I was talking with Danielle, and I told her that if she's interested, they can definitely send them over this way. So looks like they're going to be having a few of our homeschool group that we've been playing against that'll come join us for basketball.
Bring it.
If we need another person to help out with coaching in that, Danielle has graciously added that she would help with coaching, which we'll go over who we have for coaching in that after. Well, might as well move on to basketball before we go to the Christmas tree lighting, since we're talking about sports. So we have, our practices are starting the first week of December. We have pre-KK, which will most likely be on Wednesdays. I'm just waiting to find out, because TJ is taking on the coach for the girls' middle school team.
Yeah, I'm meeting the sports director, is that what she's called, the sports director at Acton?
Yeah.
I'm meeting
Miss
her on
Christy Hall.
Tuesday before skills and drills, which I didn't know existed until last week, but I don't check the school website now, I know to add that to my things to checklist. Yeah, so I'll meet this Tuesday about that, and I should be doing that. That's gonna be Monday through Thursday every week. One game is sprinkled in there, and then it'll be 3 practices a week. But I get 4 days of practice for a month, I wanna say, before their games start. And a lot of moving parts. I can work in coaching, no problem though, for our group.
Perfect, because I think the only day that they didn't have games scheduled when I looked at that schedule was on Thursdays.
Yep.
So we've
That's
put.
gonna be a perfect day for me.
Yeah, so I think I know Pete O'Brien is willing to do the pre-KK group, and I think John Howland is going to be a coach with him. I just gotta double check, make sure that he can do Wednesdays. First, second grade is going to be James Kittredge, and I've talked with Ian Heller, I just have to touch base with Ian to see if he's good with that still. It looks like first, second grade will be on Tuesdays at 6 PM, because James is the assistant coach for the boys' middle school team.
Oh my gosh.
Middle school's stealing our coaches. And then third, fourth grade is going to be TJ and Jenny, and that'll be on Thursdays from 6 to 7, because we can't get into the gym before 6 o'clock unless Wednesdays, we can get in an hour earlier,
That
which
would
you've
be
got to
really-
find out.
That would be really helpful.
So if we can, then that means our pre-K group can be at like 5 or 5:30 on Wednesdays.
When do you think you'll have an answer on that? Or do you want me to reach out?
Well, you're gonna be meeting with her on Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Because when I had talked to Christy about that, she said that it depends on who she has for the girls' coach, if they're gonna be able to come in earlier.
I thought that was gonna be a principal issue,
Nope,
like we have to ask the, okay.
That's a you. And then our 5th, 6th grade is going to be Thursday from 7 to 8, and that's going to be TJ. We have one of our moms, Vanessa, who's interested in being an assistant coach. And did you talk to Riley?
Yeah, he's good to go. He's stopping by here Tuesday because he couldn't Friday to fill out the background check.
Perfect. So we just need to make sure that we get all of our coaches, and assistant coaches, to make sure that they come back and do a background check, because I believe everybody is coming up due, unless you're on the board. I think for the most part, we're good. We have been scheduling games with the Nason Center, for 5 and 6. That's the only thing they had open for us. So she's going to be reaching out to me again. We've scheduled 3 games so far with Shapley, and then we're gonna have Wakefield and Milton.
Wakefield, Milton. Do we have a desire to expand the list at all? Do we have any feelers out right now that are unanswered?
I had a couple, but Lebanon's not doing basketball from what I've heard. Alfred is staying in district. And they said that they do it with Lyman, but when I reached out to Lyman, they said they don't have a rec basketball program. So,
What about Waterboro?
I think Waterboro's the only one that I didn't do.
What was after
Waterboro's
Wakefield?
closed, so.
Oh, it's listed.
Waterworks, 35 minutes, so is
So
that-
we're doing 1 team per grade,
Depends on where Waterboro.
It's probably
and
gonna,
we're not playing against each
So-
other? Is there-
It depends on how many kids we have signed up, if
It's
we're gonna be able to. 'Cause ideally, it would be nice to have 2 teams per grade.
in elementary school.
Because then we can offset and fill in, our own teams playing against our own teams as well, but also be able to play against other
yeah.
towns.
That's how this is set up, if it's not clear. Jenny could coach her own team, well, that's how we planned it.
Yeah.
And she said she's willing to coach her own team. If we only have enough for one team, me and Jenny will coach the team together. And then 5th and 6th grade, if we don't have enough, myself, Riley, and Vanessa, if they all want to be assistant coach, we'll do that. Riley said he could coach his own team, and then Vanessa would be his assistant if we shred that out into 2. And then from what I understand, Pete and John and James and Ian are shredded out that way as well, where they would help each other if it's one, but they could coach their own team. Sam?
Yep.
Is Pete and John and James and Ian postured like that? I didn't ask you.
Yeah, so the only one that's on this list that's a regular, that signed up as an assistant is Vanessa. So
Okay,
everybody
cool.
else could theoretically be a regular coach to coach their own
Okay.
teams.
Okay, cool.
So it gives us enough so that we have 2 coaches, and then if we end up deciding that we only have enough for 1 team, then it'll end up being a coach and an assistant coach, so they can work together. Right now, because we said we needed how many kids per team, 9 to 10?
I would say 9 or 10 would be a comfortable, an NBA team has 15 people, so, but
Okay.
they're kind of nuts.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, if there's only, what, is there 5 on the,
5 on the court at a time, you definitely burn out quick, like, soccer it is all running, so it doesn't seem like it, but the way basketball is, like those kids,
It's using upper
I
and lower.
sometimes sub them out halfway through the quarter, because especially the first game, playing defense and then running on offense, the exertion of jumping, like, some of them aren't prepared for it, and I can see they're gassed halfway through, and I'm like, all right, I gotta sub you. So you end up almost getting all the kids on the court in 1 quarter.
The more the better too, because like soccer, we had a few
Practices,
games
people are
that
gonna
they
get
had
sick.
nobody.
We go-
They had to run the entire hour.
Yeah.
Go to 12, 13, that's more than fine.
Yeah. I had a question about games. So when we're scheduling games, we're gonna do what we talked about, right? And have like 3 games at the one spot. on the- So the
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
siblings
All
don't get
travel.
separate.
Yes.
Yeah. So
travel
I
together.
talked to, so I think if we put a message out there too, because some of the first grade parents that I've been talking to, they're not understanding about travel like we're talking about. They're thinking we're going like an hour away. So I was talking to actually Alex about that because she didn't want to travel. And I said, we're just going to Sanford and Shapley and Milton. She's like, oh, that's fine.
well, and that's what I posted on the last Facebook
Okay.
message too.
Yeah.
Was that we're not looking, like, we're not, because after our last
Yeah.
meeting, we talked about it, like, we're not a regular travel team.
Yeah, I think
So
we're getting
a
confused.
travel team would be an hour to 3 hours away, sometimes an
That's what I had
overnighter.
brought- That's what I had brought up weeks ago was.
Yeah, we're keeping it within a half an hour.
Yeah.
On our registration form also, we talked about putting like Shapley, just our neighboring.
Yeah, we did
That's right on the
that.
registration
Yeah.
At first, it does say, you know, a max of 45 minutes, but every place that we're looking at is gonna be a max of a half an hour.
Yeah, I
How
think that,
many kids do we have signed up already?
Oh my gosh. So I've gotten a lot back from a lot of parents that are just in the process of getting their registrations in.
saw
But
that.
parents that have actually, we have 1, 2, 3, and this does not include this stack that I just got today. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 for 5th, 6th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 for 3rd, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 for 1st, 2nd, and 7 for pre-KK.
And
So
for,
we've got
just
teams and we've got subs, so
for
that's
this
good
early,
for
that's
grade.
pretty outstanding. I'm
Yeah.
almost worried how many kids we're gonna have as far as coaches, because like,
Because they all sign up last
how they
minute.
come at the last minute for
Yeah.
soccer, how many
Yeah.
were last minute for soccer? It was
Yeah.
me, sorry.
For most of the grades, other than the little grades, we had more than that last year for basketball.
Well, this is also, they're just,
To 16.
people are just now starting to send in their sign-up forms, even though the sign-up forms have been out for a month. They're just now, they're waiting for soccer to end. And I've got a lot of kids that were excited, and I've heard some more that said they're joining, but I haven't heard from their parents that they were, so I'm just waiting.
Last year, we had about 75, we had like 90, I think 93 for basketball and cheer, and I think there were only 20, I think there were 21 for cheer, so.
Now, what
expect
days
more
of the
from
week are
basketball.
games?
So games are primarily going to be Fridays and Saturdays. However, I've been asked by some of the other towns if we would be interested. This is more for the 3, 4, 5, 6 grade, if we'd be interested in throwing in that midweek game. And I said it depends on what the schedule looks like, and then it would depend on the coaches.
Saturdays at our school?
It would be Friday night, so the thought process is Friday night and then Saturday morning, because I think of it, our pre-KK for second graders, to have them not be able to play a game until 6, 7 o'clock on a Friday night.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's chaos.
Mr. Ross signed off on Saturdays? It was always that we had to pay for the gym and pay for the,
Oh, I'll have to ask them then.
yeah, we had to pay for someone to work the gym in order to use Saturdays, and that's why we never use Saturdays.
Then I'll talk to Mr. Ross.
Unless maybe they have a janitor now on Saturdays, but that was the way it always was.
Will's there on the weekend, oh, he's gonna be there on the weekends now, because he's not doing his apple.
No, we had to pay,
I'll have to ask him.
Yeah, because
and
he's
that's
not,
his fee, the janitor's fee for being there.
Okay, I'll ask him. I'll talk to Mr. Ross about Saturday mornings, because that was kind of the thought is, say that we have the same layout that we had with soccer. Say we have 7 teams and we're playing against other places. We don't have enough time for 7 games on a Friday night.
No.
It's just not gonna happen.
So is Mr. Ross aware that we're discussing Saturday mornings or not at all? Is this going to be a surprise for him?
He should be aware because I've talked about it in front of him, but I didn't think that we had to, like, I didn't think there was a fee associated, so I'm going to talk to him Monday morning.
Or even just access? I mean, the fee aside, I think we could probably cover, but
Yeah.
we're
Oh.
scheduling something and we're not sure we have the venue.
But we haven't necessarily scheduled any Saturdays yet, so it's kind of,
It's depending on how many teams we have.
Yeah.
I see.
We're anticipating it, okay. I can
Yeah.
ask Tuesday as well.
well, I'll be in there on Monday. I can talk to Mr. Ross. Because he has to deal with me every day.
7 o'clock is way too late for pre-K kindergartners.
Well, that's kind of why we're also,
7 o'clock games.
well, we had,
5, 6, and 7 o'clock games.
Yeah, it's way too late.
we had a hard time, so this year, we aren't able to get into the gym until later on than where we were last year. So we don't get access, Fridays are a different story. We don't get access to the gym until 6 o'clock.
Just 1 hour.
Between 6 and 6:30.
That's 1 hour later than last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's huge, especially for our littles, which is why I'm hoping if we can do earlier, like if Wednesdays, practice for the school teams is earlier and we can get in that extra hour, then we'll be able to do the pre-KK on Wednesdays.
And one of the problems that we ran into a couple of years ago, the reason why we can't get into the gym that late is because of the junior high with their practice times and if they have home games. And if they have any home games,
I've already talked to her, I have their schedule.
expect those home games to go over. the kids were always, especially Mondays, for some reason, we had Monday games a couple of years ago, and the Monday practice didn't end up starting until at least a half an hour later, if not longer, so that was,
So those days, what my plan already is, because I have the full schedule of away games and home games, so on the days of the home games, my plan already is to push it back by half an hour. So instead of practice being 6 to 7 on that night, it'll be 6:30 to 7:30. So that'll be written right out on the thing, and if anybody has a question about it, it's going to be because there's a home game scheduled.
and just a quick thought on that, right from the beginning, make sure we put a feeler out for our group not to go into the gym when we're going in before for practices, because that was a real big issue last year
They
with
started,
people.
they started just closing the door.
Yeah.
Say we put a sign on the door and we close the door for each practice, that'll take care of
But
it.
if the games are going on for the junior high, you kind of can't do that, so.
Well, we can tell them they can go, but if they arrive before practice time, they need to sit on the bleachers quietly while they wait.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about practices, games, I guess.
Practices in general
Yeah.
was one thing, but, when they're going in is, not to disrupt the games against the other towns is. We all start walking in thinking, we're all ready for practice and all excited and everything else, and then the coaches on the, court are like, shh, shh, shh.
As they're doing a
Yeah, it's.
foul shot or,
Yeah.
yeah.
The kids, Bill.
We have the junior high schedule, so we can let
Yeah.
the respective coach know
Yeah.
every week. I can, because I have all these coaches' contacts, so.
You just plan a meeting spot too for teams, like, hey, teams, don't meet at the gym, meet here.
Yeah, we can meet at the front
For every
entrance or
practice and walk in
something
together as a
instead.
unit.
So I do have, because I have that schedule already as well, I'll be able to look through when we're scheduling all of the practices so that I can,
And did they get a new scoreboard? Do you know?
The elementary school?
So
Yes.
last year, we could not use the scoreboard, so we had purchased, what's that thing called? TJ, the little
They do have a new scoreboard.
one that we purchased
I was
last
just
year.
there
Yeah,
because Connor
and
went
that was
to
only-
the drills Thursday night.
okay.
Yeah, but they wouldn't let the rec use the scoreboard.
We talked to the rec director, or we brought it up actually in Skills and Drills. The rec director for Acton, we brought it up and she goes, that doesn't sound right, and I think that might change, so.
Okay.
It's a new, Christy Hall is now the rec director, or not the director, the coordinator for the sports and that at the school.
Mr. Ross was trying to put it in the budget to get a new one. I think the concern was that it was not working quite so well and they didn't want so many hands on it, so.
But we'll have to have one person assigned to
We
it.
do have a
We do have
small
one,
one
yep.
that should be in the closet still.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't use it for soccer?
No.
No, it's a small one that we had purchased last year.
In the closet at the school?
Yeah, so we have it
Yeah,
back
it's a
up.
small one in the closet, it should be in
Okay.
one of the boxes in the closet of the school. It's got a little remote control and you can set the times on
Took us
it.
89 minutes to figure out the first time, but.
I like that, he timed it out.
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh, so are we done with basketball coverage? Do you have anything else? 'Cause
I think
had-
that was it with basketball, and then it was just gonna be cheer.
I had a question for.
Yes.
It seems to be back and forth on whether we could pay refs, even get a little bit of training for them. I just want to put this out there. I think it's a great opportunity for high schoolers. I did it in middle school and high school. We offer, I got like $5 a day, $5 a game back in the day, since I'm so old.
Old man.
15, $20 a game. I don't know what's reasonable for a high schooler to ref a basketball game for these kids. It gets them involved in the sport and how to ref, it's something to do on the weekend, keep them out of trouble, however you want to bucket that, and
It's a good stress test for
I don't,
life.
yep.
Parents
and
being upset.
I really disliked juggling and figuring out reffing situations every weekend for soccer, which
Yes.
I think we had more people. Thank God we had
Thank
Dan.
you.
Dan, yeah.
Because Dan's, every time, like literally anytime we put up the bat signal, Dan's like, I got you, so.
The dancing a lot.
do any of the junior high kids, have they had any training? Like, do they do, or the high school kids, do they do
That's-
anything for the
so
junior?
that's
high?
part of-
That's part of what we want to do.
I think Dan has a.
Yeah, could you?
What's up, Dan?
Chair a little closer?
In regards to, the pay, I think that's fine, but you need to make sure that you're paying someone to do their job. job, that they know how to do it.
Yep.
A couple situations with the individual that I worked with, when I was roughing, didn't really have the energy and didn't have the know-how. So I just want to make sure that it is being paid.
If you're being paid, we're gonna vet it,
But
type of deal,
also, a lot of high schools require community service hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you could also say, instead of paying, this can be considered community service hours. I know when I was in,
That's what we've been doing.
especially kids are more likely to do it for something they're interested in. I love read soccer because I love to play soccer. So
Here's-
they're more likely to be like, okay, well, I use this as community service.
John has the perfect alibi for this and why I'd rather make it a static paid structure. You're at the whim of these volunteers and their training is gonna vary. If we make it paid and, sorry, if we make it paid and, you know, get the same individuals that will commit, I'd rather deal with that because we had problems through baseball and soccer where they're like, oh, I got all my volunteer hours, and I was like, we were depending on you for like 4 months.
That's it.
I know they come
was
with
a
their
huge problem.
entourage, so instead of getting 1 or 2, we're getting 4 or 5, and, you know, it creates a little more of a
Once
circus.
those hours were accumulated,
Do we have to, do they have to have insurance if we're paying them though?
That would be a concern. So
concern.
it would be something that I wrote down, we would have to bring up to the selectmen to see what the selectmen have to say.
We do that at the next meeting? I can come and ask or whatever.
Yeah.
What
last year we
doing at
did
the
have-
School, how would, I mean, they've got games going on at the school, we would be covered presumably under the same endorsement?
Well, our insurance is, but if we're paying somebody, that person, if they're providing any services, so the way that the rec works and the way that the town works, if anybody is coming into the town and providing services, self-defense, for example, they have to have their own insurance and liability that they provide to the town to show that they're covered, because our insurance is not going to cover them. So if we have a ref,
Have $1 million
And not
binder.
necessarily,
Well,
not
that's-
here, not necessarily.
And that's where it'll-
I mean,
well, and that's where it's gonna come down to, because they're not per se coming in and teaching a group and getting money for that. They're doing a $15, $20. I know that there's been a couple exceptions that, you know, the town has said, okay, that's fine, where, you know, we don't have to worry about it, but when they're like the bigger organizations, they have to have their insurance. So I don't know if that will actually fall onto this or not. I do know that we have one high schooler that has been with us through soccer that is planning on doing basketball because she's huge into basketball. So she will be planning on coming. I'll probably be picking her butt up again to come with us.
Begin
I love
with
her.
an L.
Yes.
Yeah, she's lovely. She's
She-
forward thinking. She anticipates your every move. If we can get her.
She's planning on it already.
She's awesome.
Well,
That would be amazing.
I think she wants to get all of her volunteer hours first. She's almost there, and then once she gets her volunteer hours, we can ask her, do you want it as a paid thing, or do you want to do this as a, if we can get the selectmen to agree to the paid situation. She is planning on, I did tell her that we were anticipating Friday night and Saturday mornings, as long, now it's going to be up to Mr. Ross if we can do Saturday mornings, that it's going to be those 2 days, and she was perfectly fine with that. It's, as long as she has a heads up so she can make sure that she's not working, because she works over at Smitty's, then she'll make sure that she can.
And scorekeepers, last year we had two that volunteered that did the community hours for score. And, so we want to line up for that also.
Yeah, I would just be curious, TJ, if you can ask when you're meeting with Christie and just say, how do they handle the refs?
Oh,
'Cause
I already talked to her. She pays them. They have a budget in their school to pay their refs.
Then we should have the same consideration, wouldn't you think?
We should,
You know who they use?
but
I didn't get that detailed yet. It was like a stop and chat for 20, 30 minutes.
I'll send her an email too, asking her.
Carissa has a comment.
Whether we were to do like promoting the community service or the paid, I think one thing that I saw that we could do better with people that are volunteering is whether they're high school, middle school, you have to sign a contract. That you're gonna be here for XYZ, whether it's 3 games for the season, 4 games for the season, but to hold them
just
accountable,
one
because
day.
any job, you're gonna have to sign a paper that say you're coming into work. And
Obviously,
I think it would fault the people that are like, yeah, I'm coming, and then come the day of going, where are they?
And
that way we have a record too of the ones that are not showing up, so then, okay, well, I'm sorry you had the opportunity, you didn't even contact anybody. I mean, I know we had an incident that he called somebody and they literally hung up the phone on him.
Really?
After not answering, yeah.
Yep.
And it was a day we were all expecting them to be there, so I think that would alleviate.
Another day that we were expecting them.
Yeah,
I
there was a
think
couple
we need
days.
to be careful with inundating these kids with phone calls, because that could be, considered harassment. So, we reach out to them once, and if they don't respond, let it go, but we just need to be prepared, because we've been caught with our pants down on that a couple of times.
It's not our job to chase high schoolers.
But even community service, for them to pushing them to not just hit your quota of what's due, because I know schools like Massabesic, yes, you have your set amount, but after that, if you hit another certain amount, you're getting a cord at graduation, you're getting a plaque at graduation.
It's the same as Sanford.
You're getting all this extra stuff, so why, maybe we could help encouraging them not just to hit your quota
And it's for most of them too, if they're coming here to help with us, they're coming because it's being able to volunteer and do something they actually enjoy versus being on the side of the road picking up trash. They're actually able to join a sport function that they actually enjoy.
I mean, look at, Haley. Haley loves coming and helping, and she's a freshman, and she's already almost even at her quota and she's like, I love it, I don't want to stop.
Yeah, and that's what, Noble's 65 hours.
Is there anyone at the high school that, keeps track of that you can work with, that
They come, oh, you mean for where the,
find more people?
I can reach out to the high school and see what we can get.
Guidance
I know someone did that a couple of years ago, and I thought there was one particular person at the high school that deals with that maybe you could.
I can reach out, I think Yvonne is one of the ones that we can reach out to in the elementary school, because she works over there, if I remember right. I'll reach out to her and ask her where she would go.
And it's great to have the stable of revolving volunteers, and then if we can approach the town for one or two people, as a paid position, whether it's for the season or, a block of games, then that really covers our bases, and we don't need to be scrambling when we're on the field, who's doing what.
Or maybe if it's a volunteer that says, hey, I'm gonna be at every single game, they're gonna be looked at more of that paid position type, because they're there every single, not the, hey, I'm gonna come for one game.
Right.
Where, okay, you're a volunteer.
The contract just makes it known that we're counting on you, and it's a responsibility, so
And
it's just
it's our job to teach them responsibility and to teach them life skills, so if we don't start now, then they're gonna be, some kids don't start working at till 18 and they're going, I don't know what to do.
That contract can be the paper that the town hall signs off on afterwards also.
Yeah.
So separately, we could add a block to the sign-up sheet for parents to also volunteer as referees.
That's on there.
I think there is
Yep,
one.
that's on there. It's for coach, assistant coach, referee, concessions, and uniforms.
Circle coach and ref for me.
Sam actually did a really good shout out at the end of the soccer close, thanking everyone who was there. Dan, you were amongst them. I think that was really good. A call out for coaches. I think we fell a little short on the volunteers for the snack shack. So I think, we had a captive audience and we didn't stress that point. And that, from my perspective, is our weakest link in terms of communication, coordination, and staffing.
No, we had volunteers for the snack shack, but they kept canceling.
She's saying that.
So that's not a volunteer.
Well, we had it, right.
That's hanging, and it creates
Right.
a lot of
Yeah, but-
chaos and bickering 2 days before the event, which really shouldn't be happening each time we're doing a big event.
But I guess the thing that, like Crystal was saying, is we had the volunteers, so we had the coverage, and then last second, so we had everything scheduled in, where it wouldn't have been an issue, and then last second, it got canceled on us, so then we're running, because we don't want to have too many people scheduled either, because then everybody's sitting there doing this.
Right.
What do we do? This, you guys don't really need me, I don't see the,
I don't, yeah, it's not.
we would have them scheduled into
It's
shifts.
not a burden.
Yeah.
I think,
What if-
so,
sorry.
no, go ahead.
What if we were to start sending out emails to the parents that, okay, we're looking for parent coverage on this day, or make it known that if your child's doing a sport, you have to do at least one shift in that. I mean, I know for wrestling, I have no choice, but when we sign that saying they're going into the sport, we have to pick a day that we're volunteering. And it's mandated for us to do.
One day, it's not a burden on anybody.
And you do one day for 70 people, you're gonna
So
have multiple people in that shack at all times.
The one thing that we have to remember is in order to handle the money, we have to be bonded, and we don't want to have 100 people bonded either. So that kind of leaves us with, one of us still needs to be at the shack every time, so that we have that coverage with somebody bonded.
So there are how many? 3, 6, there are 9 of us, thank you.
But two are usually coaching.
Yeah, but, and we have another person who's a board member who presumably is bonded. Do not count on me every Saturday morning.
Oh, I know.
Next year, because I'm
not, don't worry.
take me out of the rotation, because it's too much. We don't have enough help. And you guys have all heard this before, and it's the coordination, and it's the lack of planning and the lack of communication. We're planning these parties, we don't have accurate head counts, we don't have what we need when we're assembling on the field, right? And it's just, we're not learning from the mistakes that we've made from baseball. We've made the same mistakes with tumbling, and we made the same mistakes, from my perspective, for soccer.
I think we did a very good job, though, at soccer.
We always do a good job.
No, the soccer ceremony was more
The problem
better.
is, we're not prepared. We don't know who's coming, we don't know how many people we're serving. We ran out of food. The last 2 teams on the field on Saturday didn't eat. I mean, they were crumbs. There were a couple of
I got
pastries.
mini muffins. I didn't get
Yeah,
breakfast.
because a lot of them didn't want to
Our team
eat,
got
they didn't
nothing.
want to eat before the
went
game and
over.
run around and end up with a full.
I went over to Willie's afterwards and inhaled an Italian. I was starving.
We had a lot left. We had like.
But
half
there
the
wasn't,
table.
Connor got off the game and went to go out, and there was
everybody
literally
picked
2
up.
pancakes dried to the
were gone,
bottom.
The bacon was
I got
gone, the
mini
sausage
muffins.
was gone, the
That's
eggs,
it.
we had more
Pumpkin
eggs.
bread.
We didn't want leftovers, so we didn't cook more eggs, and that was just, we didn't know how many people we were feeding, and it's hard to plan.
We can't, because the problem is, nobody said they were going or staying, and even if you ask, like, anytime we do an event, people say, okay, we're going. We can't count on that, unfortunately, because nobody does. Like the cornhole tournament.
We've dealt with that multiple
We have that dealt with that, so we can't
maybe-
plan accurately. We can just say, hey, we have 77 kids on our team, we have these teams, and we just plan appropriately, and we stopped serving at a certain time, that's why we didn't make more food.
So my suggestion would be going back to the old way of doing it all pretty much at the same time, and then doing awards afterwards, instead of doing
that way.
long drawn-out amount of time.
We tried that, by the way.
Or
That's
do
what she planned.
doses of
And half the
food.
coaches did
Said
their
no.
awards right after the game and
Yeah,
said, I'm not.
I had
I didn't go to the
everything.
awards?
No.
No, they did it right
They
after the game
left.
and took off. And Sam organized it as one.
And I had let everybody know for a month.
I mean,
I
always
let
done it
everybody.
that way, and usually have a huge crowd.
No.
We had a
They
huge
left.
crowd for baseball, and for baseball was huge because our game started at 9 o'clock and the awards weren't until 1 o'clock. And everybody stayed and it was awesome. But for soccer, we started games at 9 and we were doing the ceremony at 11 o'clock, and I had multiple coaches that didn't want to stay and they had known a month prior. And
Them and their parents, they're like, I have too many parents that have to take off, and they just
yeah,
did their
so
awards right after
it
that.
completely crumbled.
But again,
But you gave them the opportunity to do the awards afterwards?
I told them,
If you don't give
and
them
they-
the opportunity, if you just do the awards
They
at
were
the
told.
same
They were told,
time?
they were told it was at 11
Yeah.
o'clock, because originally it was at 11:30, and I said, fine, we'll do it at 11 o'clock to
Is
make
that
it easier.
one was there something else going on in the town at that time, or?
No,
Nope, they just left.
they didn't want to be there.
I mean, we've always had a huge,
Our turnout was awesome for baseball for it, and
or you
then,
do a different day, you could do that too,
We
maybe.
did a different day for basketball, and everyone obviously showed up.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, what if we
it
just
was
did
just
2
that was
rounds of
the
food
awards,
cooking?
and that was the whole thing. And for soccer, it wouldn't even have to be, say, during the day. It could be a Friday night. We've done it in here numerous times because of bad weather and whatnot. And
Maybe we
geez,
could-
we've had standing room only in here numerous times. I mean,
Yeah, but
I'm
then
just-
we have to come back 2 separate times. We have to do the ceremony, and then we have another day that we have to come
And-
back.
But it would defeat
But, I
the
mean, it
purpose.
literally takes usually about an hour to do it all.
Well, the problem is, the next day we had the pumpkin thing that people helped out with, because we were asked to help that, and next year we're probably gonna have to help with that again. So Saturday and and Sunday we're booked.
Can
And
we
if
hear
you-
from
but-
Dan real quick?
Yeah, can we, Dan?
Kind of like what Lori said, I think you shouldn't do games the same day as the award ceremony. I think just doing the awards, something at least in high school, they do awards banquet. It's just going, it gives the opportunity for coaches like TJ to be able to give those personal things about the coaches and actually have the attention on the kids and make sure that it's just like a meal, whether it's like, you want to do it like a spaghetti dinner, brunch. That way, everyone's getting their food at the same time. Everyone's gonna be there. It's only an hour. Like my sister's one of the coaches had to leave. My family's very busy. And her and my dad were busy. I was busy, but I was with you folks. And it is a lot for people. And I think having, like, when I was on the rec board and then what I've seen, having the awards the same day as games, it is really, it's a lot.
It's a long day.
Really long. Like you said, there's some people who don't want to eat, and it makes it more complicated for you folks as you're trying to figure that out. I think it might just be easier to consider just doing an hour block for awards. I mean, or even if you want to do sports, like when my dad coached from Acton for the teams, we would do like a play against the parents or something, a quick, not serious, fun game, and then while they're doing that, the people could be finishing up the food and stuff, and then everyone, but like, you want to do the fun activity, come for like 20 minutes before, and then this is natural time to celebrate.
And you pass out you collect the uniforms, you get the,
Me and Lori
pass
are-
out the pictures, all that at the awards,
Lori
and it's
are-
one separate entity.
I think we could do, I like both ideas. I like doing like a quick ceremony so the kids get their trophies, they get their medals while they're coming off the fields, because I think that's really meaningful for them, and we saw that this week where they were getting on the bus. But why don't we do one year-end season here at the town hall, so if it's raining, we don't need to, we've been really lucky with the weather.
cold,
We've done
it's-
it in,
Sweat.
blazing hot, so to have, all of the food being staged here,
Me and-
in climate control on an afternoon, a Friday night, whatever the parents wanted to do, I think that makes much more sense,
me-
instead of doing it 4 times.
Before you go, Crystal, me and Lori are coming off the tail end. We've now done back-to-back 2 different things. Basketball was a different day, and then soccer was same day. I've only been here for a year now, and I can just say from my little experience, the separate day just went so much better. Everyone went for everyone showed up to the awards for basketball because they knew that's what we're going for. We're going to put some love and attention on these kids, reward them.
Give them their pictures.
Give them their pictures. It was
Turn in
just, it was just so organized and special. At the end of soccer, when I read out the awards for the kids, man, they were beaming, and the parents were like looking around. If we had 4 more teams there, I think it would have been much more special, so.
Everyone's there to watch it.
We're gonna
and
run
it's
into
nice.
teams taking off.
We've even done it at assembly in the past, in different times during something that was going on.
So I just want to say that
Yeah.
if you're against the different day, Crystal, I think it went really well for basketball.
No, I know. Can I just say why for soccer? I don't care about baseball, but soccer, the problem is, it's in October, okay? So we're doing probably the Mary Grant again, so that was the day after.
Right.
Okay, and then you got all these trunk or treats every single weekend.
Right.
And then Friday night, nobody's gonna wanna come because you got all these events. That's the problem for soccer.
But there's always gonna be something.
You can plan it the
No,
weekend before or
October's
something
the
too. You can do it
problem.
before, well, no, you can't do it before the last game.
Because the.
Or you
Could do it the night that they would normally have practice, like
Nobody's
Thursday
gonna wanna
night.
stay late on practice, because I know after practice, like
no,
TJ
no.
said, all
This
those
is-
kids
no, no, no,
left.
No
this is-
practice.
I don't know.
What she's saying is,
People that don't want to
she's saying,
stay late for these.
she's saying it's more like you can do it like the following week. So we have our last game on the 22nd, the following week.
It's
where
trunk or
they would-
treat.
Hush for a second.
Okay.
The following week, when you'd have
What
their
would have
practice day or something, what would normally be their practice?
Yeah, they're not
We can
gonna
take one of those practices and we can do it then instead of.
But you have to ask the coach, because you take a practice away.
No. This is after the last game, because we can't do it
What are
before
you
the last
talking
game.
about? You're talking about after the last game?
Yes.
So the last game is the 22nd.
And then the
Usually.
following week, you take one of the nights that a practice would be on.
Yeah.
And instead of it being a practice, because there's no more practices at that point, they can turn, it's a social day.
But the problem is, you do, people, kids, little kids aren't gonna wanna come out again on a school night.
I don't,
They do every.
they would be doing it for practice.
Then they're done though.
But we can't,
We're just extending it.
we
another
can't
day.
assume what other people are gonna do.
We
Like,
should
we
ask
can't-
first.
I don't think
That's what I'm saying.
You can't ask about everything, because if you ask,
No, you open a can of worms every time you ask, and every time you open it up to
But
the
the
coaches,
problem
you open
is,
it
you're not gonna get these
even
little
more.
kids that
Been
gonna
there,
wanna
done
come
that,
out.
and it-
I think they will. They came out for basketball.
okay, so wait, all in favor of doing a second day for a ceremony, not on the same?
All opposed?
Even if we have to go to barn lights.
But we could even,
Here, the rec has enough money that we can rent barn lights if they'll let us bring in.
$2,000 to rent.
but we can,
Then we do it here.
They'll donate a
Do
day.
it here.
They've donated,
They donate it for us all the time.
They're not
The
gonna
only
do
time
it.
we would
the
have to do
improv
it
class
here
didn't pay
is,
$2,000.
We're looking
But we
at
could-
one,
the only time we would have to do it here is in the wintertime. We still can do it at the rec
but
field.
we could even do
another-
potluck. Every single one of us
always done
could bring a
potluck.
crock pot, and that's 9 different dishes, and it's not
the big
stress on everyone
closing
either.
We have more space and more setup.
And we don't,
Trying to stumble.
Right.
I think I like.
They have a kitchen too.
More families
They
could
have
come at
pancake
night.
breakfast.
70 kids and their parents in this room.
No, you don't.
But the thing that I like about
We
doing,
don't need, do you think the shed is any cleaner? I think we're trading, we can wipe things down, we're bringing things in, everything's on trays and platters anyways, we have running water, we can wash our hands, we have air conditioning, we have heat. This just brings everything
I'm
we
sure the
need.
church would volunteer their time too. I mean, their space too, if we needed
And
it.
we have 3 possible locations, Acton Elementary, barn lights, here.
So yeah, we could always talk to
We
elementary
used
school to do a
potluck
thing in the
where we had the teams do different things. So, you know,
we could do it right-
I got a question.
do that also.
Area at the school.
Totally agree.
I got a question. You're gonna, if you make parents mad, I don't wanna hear it.
Something is always gonna
Because the
upset people
problem
though.
is, you're gonna have another thing where parents are gonna be upset. I know everybody in
think they
first
will.
grade and pre-K and kindergarten.
Everyone showed up for the basketball
every single
awards.
one.
and
What
they-
time was that at?
6 o'clock at night,
On a school night?
on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Friday of all days.
Okay.
They
I
all
don't
showed
know,
up.
I
think it's a
don't
lot.
know very many
Something's
parents that
always
won't
gonna
go out
upset
at
someone.
night.
No, I
We need
know,
to
but
stop
you
making
can't-
decisions
10-year-old,
because
and
a
she was at
handful
a
of
party
people
till
are gonna be
9:30
upset.
last
It's like-
I think we can try it to address Crystal's concerns, and we understand them, is to try it. If it's a failure, we'll go back to do it the old way. But that's a huge, I think that's a large,
I'm not doing it. I can't. You guys are just,
You're not listening to any other thought.
because nobody's listening to the parent side.
Kara,
That's far from
Crystal,
true, Crystal, far from true.
We did it when I was a
Listen,
kid.
they're all, there's
We
more parents
changed
than
our-
just you that are in this room.
I know.
We changed our
Okay, we
entire
guys don't
soccer
have-
schedule because of what a few parents said.
exactly. That's
We threw 100 hours down the drain for what a few parents said, so
Because they pay the fees.
All right, we're gonna stop with that now.
With that being said, I would, and this is gonna probably aggravate people too, but I would like to see it go back to medals instead of t-shirts.
I've gotten so many
different people, say, I've got 3 or 4 t-shirts now. I don't need 3 or 4 Acton Rec t-shirts. I know my older kids still have their medals from 20 years ago. I've had other people say that my older brother has all these medals, and the little one's going up and wants as many medals as his brother, and doesn't have the opportunity to have those.
So we found a way to do both during soccer. Let's find a way to do both during basketball.
I
I don't know.
like the t-shirts because they wear them to practice.
Yes, I like the t-shirts because it's something, as a parent myself too, I like the t-shirts because the medals, a lot of parents I've actually heard from, the medals end up being, more of a, what is it? Dust collector. They don't get to wear them as, like, they don't do anything with them as much, they just kind of have them
They get
there.
to show them off to I'm showing my kids my trophies now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But the other thing too is when they get a medal just for participating, they're not, when they hit that point where they are doing first, second, and third place and they get the same medal for third place,
Yeah,
it's
that-
not gonna mean the same.
So that's, I wanted to point, next year, we'll just plan a little bit better. Let's engrave them, or let's figure out what engraving costs. I mean, every trophy,
I think most of those,
But what, engraving what on them, I'm sorry?
Just
Either,
Acton Tournament 2023
Oh,
or...
okay, yeah.
just
So-
something that either
Like
signifies
first
a place, if they did get first, second place, if we're doing the tournament thing,
Okay, I see.
or end of year. My end of year trophies didn't have first, second place. So I don't know. I agree with trophies and medals are special, and so are t-shirts.
They are.
Let's find a way to do both.
So if
They
you
help, but I
want
would
to
say I like
continue
the
to
kids
do...
wear 'em all the time,
If you
too.
want to continue to do
Sponsors can
t-shirts,
use,
then you can go back to the old way of not doing uniforms and do t-shirts as uniforms. We've done that, the people get to keep their t-shirts, and then we're not, I mean, but we went, the board went to purchasing all these to save money for the town. And so we had the same t-shirt, I mean, the same uniforms over and over again. So this is all new where we can just
Right.
spend the amount of money that we're spending.
So let's-
We have never had a budget through the Acton Rec that we have now and could spend whatever we wanted
So
like
let's
we're
move with it.
spending. We
Let's
had to
capitalize.
present, we used to have a line item budget and we had to present that to the board. And they would look at it and they would say, yeah, well, you don't need to spend the money on this. You don't need to spend
So
the
we're
money
gonna
on this.
have-
So I'm from old school and Dan, it was absolutely crazy. This right now is the biggest budget I have ever seen.
Great.
In the Acton, which is great. I
Yeah.
pushed for it. I did the
So
budget
let's
almost
capitalize on it.
single-handed.
Let's put to the
Yes.
selectmen and be transparent. We're doing shirts and medals or
Right.
trophies.
and we're
then
not
let's
doing
get the response.
individual, end of seasons. We'll do one end of the season bash, whatever day that turns out to be. And if
That's
it
what we've
doesn't
started
happen
doing.
until the middle of November,
By the
when
end-
no one has anything to do and we're all looking
gonna have
for a
some numbers.
party, right?
Yeah,
The
I like
deepest,
the idea. I don't like the...
and that's the
kids
savings that we have
I
for
don't-
both
yeah.
the medals and the t-shirts.
We
like,
have
I know
numbers
with
to get the
basketball, it
selectmen.
went really well with doing it that same day, and then with soccer, with basketball, with baseball, and then with soccer, it just kind of meshed.
Baseball was so few kids as well.
We dialed the time back a couple of hours.
Well, that was still 9 to 1 o'clock, so our first team started at 9. This one was only 2 hours after we started games and everybody left.
Baseball was our smallest show up as well. We're not dealing with numbers with baseball.
Right.
I think everything's
We have very,
pointing
very
toward.
small
I think
teams
we
in
could-
the
Everything's pointing toward a different day, I think is where this discussion is.
Accommodate both,
So-
especially if we're not doing the big parties at the end of each sport.
I know, well, we'll be doing a big party at the end of every sport. Because even though we're gonna change the day, it's still going to be for the end of every sport. But the thing with doing the separate uniforms, that makes it a little bit of a hard press, is those soccer jerseys we just got, because we needed new soccer jerseys,
Got for you.
was 2,300.
Yeah, and hopefully
But
we have
that's
those
why we
for
went
several
that
years.
route to save money in the long run.
Yep.
So
But we're not gonna order new jerseys every
we
year.
did
Well, that's kind of what I was like, I
a
don't
few
wanna-
years ago. Some people liked them. They, they got to take them home. Of course, someone's gonna like that. But
You can't
as
order new
as a
jerseys.
town looking out for the taxpayers of the town, is long-term, it's a lot cheaper to do uniforms and keep them up.
Yes,
And
us keep, you're saying us keep the uniforms, right? Right.
Yeah, it's a lot
absolutely.
cheaper.
Those are nice
Than-
uniforms, they should last at least.
Oh, yeah, those were
The
McKinney's,
other ones
those
were from my other kids. My oldest is gonna be 30, so they were using the, Dan graduated with my oldest
Speaking of, when were the basketball ones ordered last?
3 years ago.
Okay.
Oh, well, some of them were ordered last year.
Okay,
So
because I
we're
have to
on
pull those
basketball
out.
jerseys?
I gotta pull those out and look at them.
One quick question, how is someone inventorying the uniforms and everything when they come back? And
Yes.
make sure
Yes.
that they all come back and everything? You are?
I'm throwing them all in the washer, and then I'm going through all of them after. I have a couple parents that I know I'm gonna meet up
We
with.
used to have the parents sign off on them and then sign them when they came back.
What I think we're gonna do next, for basketball is I'm going to print out a checklist with every kid, and we're gonna do it by their teams.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, when a uniform gets turned in, we'll just have to check off that theirs is back.
Yeah, so what we
Because
did-
right now, I have all of the numbers done.
Yeah.
And I'm just going by
So
numbers.
what we did was, we had a book, a master copy, like the master copy I
Yeah.
gave you, and they would sign off on it when they got the uniform. So we had, Carol was the go-to person for the uniforms, they would sign off on it when they got the uniform, just
sign it back-
initial.
and sign it back in.
And then when they got their pictures.
That was the
at
award
end of the year-
ceremony for
At the
basketball,
award
right, yeah.
ceremony, we did that every
At
season.
the award
for-
ceremony, we can have an inventory
Couple of
person
years.
sit up
I was
front.
gonna say, that's what we had the trash
So
bag.
everyone went to that one person, she signed off, and they got their pictures. And then if they didn't get if we still had their pictures, and we had the master copy, they didn't get.
Holding the
you
pictures
could get
hostage
back
is the best way to get
It was the best way to get.
I think that'll work out better doing a separate ceremony versus.
You know, $30 for some of the shirts, so.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the jerseys that we're using now are beautiful.
the
Oh,
short-
those, yeah, those were, I love them.
Basketball jerseys, I did, last year we spent
If you don't turn
almost
in, you have
$1,000
to
just
pay
to
a certain amount
extend
afterwards
it.
towards your uniform.
I don't,
We have
Because I think that might
all
deter
junior
people not turning
and we
them
have the
in if
shorts
there
for
is- if
basketball
we
and
see an
soccer.
issue
Those
with
were
it.
bought 3 years ago.
I don't think
So
it says
we-
anything about that.
As a board, we've built up
Just
to
a
try to
thought.
save the taxpayers money and not, like I
Something
said,
that I
because
post
we
that
were,
they owe
we
us
could
$3.
not have a
I
budget
don't
like
think I
we
gave
do,
a
which
number
is
for the
awesome
tax
that we
pay.
do, but when you start going
It was just
over
like,
that,
just that thought that.
I don't think we're in
then-
danger of going over it.
Yeah, I don't,
no, I don't think
No,
we're in
I'm gonna be-
danger, but the more we bring in, the more it costs, you know?
Sure. So we just be transparent with our
so-
numbers and see if we're checking off the same boxes with the selectmen.
I'm waiting, I have Kelly sending me an update of our budget of where we're at for this year, soon, because I know, you know, we're almost at that halfway point anyways.
So you paid 23 for uniforms?
We
You
got it-
didn't buy any of the line, stuff that we were going to, that was on the board? So there are different types of things that you can buy that, so you don't have to,
We tried to find the jerseys that were there, and we
Yeah.
they couldn't find those same jerseys, and then when I did find them through one of the places, it was like $8 more a jersey than going for the jerseys that we went through, and I decided because of the pricing and whatnot and the local convenience to go to McKinney's versus, so for McKinney's, we got 140 of each color, so we got 280 jerseys.
That's not bad. They were nice. I liked them.
Or no, was
I
it,
lost my train of thought now, I'm sorry.
or was it 140 total? I don't remember, crap.
What the heck was I
140
saying?
total sounds more accurate.
Yeah, because I think it was 140 total, there we go. So we got 140 jerseys,
Okay,
and so we got 70 of each color.
that's good. But so we had in the budget, there are different types of things that you can put down to leave in the field, so you don't have to do the measuring and everything every year. They're pricey.
Oh, but that's so much
That was,
fun.
I was gonna say, because there's a couple
Yeah,
things that were written in the
it's a
budget, and I had no idea what it meant, so what,
so we had, so there's different,
What did I just miss?
material that you can mow over and stuff, so if you have the correct dimensions on the field, all you have to do is do the lines later on, so, and they're
And that
pricey,
means the
that's what
lawnmower
was
to go
on the,
around?
that was on the budget, for this year. Quite a few different things to make it a lot easier for the next group to be able to,
does it last over winter, or no?
yeah, it lasts for years, it's
It doesn't
different
stick up
stakes
or
and stuff.
anything?
No,
Because I was
they're
thinking like the
designed
baseball
for-
field, the kids are gonna be running for
They're
baseball,
designed
so.
for that, yeah.
We've got
Yeah.
it down now to a science.
Huh?
We've got it down to,
science.
Yeah, so do
50
we
of
do,
John's
but-
paces.
funny is, we did the two fields at the school for the tournament in
Less than an hour.
quarter of the time
Oh,
it took
yeah.
us to do
Less than an hour.
the fields at the rec, because we just, you know, we had already fumbled in the dark over there.
Literally.
For hours. So when we went over. to the
I do it with a 3-year-old in tech.
But yeah, no, I think it would be.
Be something to look into.
That's something that I'll look into, because
Oh, I've
it would
got
be
the
nice to
websites of the
have,
place.
Can you send it to me?
Yes.
you know,
Wish I could find
something,
it, yeah.
something in the corners that
Yep.
you knew.
I'd love that.
There's all
in the
already
center-
staked out.
In the center
Well, I was
that's
gonna say-
already there, that all you have to do is run string.
I was gonna say, if we could get it, like, if it's something that you can send me and we can get it now, before snow flies and the ground freezes,
Yeah.
you can put it out
Or
with what you
something for
already.
next year,
Well,
so.
I was gonna say, you could put it out for what you already have on the field.
Yep.
Because the markouts that you guys did this year was
What
amazing.
numbers, where did you come up with the numbers for the fields this year?
USA Soccer Organization and USUsoccerorganization.com.
Oh, we need to get a new net next year too, like the whole,
We have the net.
no,
For the
Sorry.
bigger.
Say the bigger net,
Oh,
yeah.
great.
we have the net, it's the frame, I thought.
That's literally what I was pointing at you.
Okay,
Frame's not the correct side.
No, the left frame is, you know how a tooth wiggles out and it's got a few strings holding on to it? That's the left frame. If it gets a hard kid sliding into it, that thing's gonna buckle and a sharp piece of metal's gonna come down.
is it just metal, like, can we weld it?
That's what me and my father-in-law discussed. He has a welder that would have to come out on site, and that's, so
Well,
I
if
don't
it's,
know.
well, what type of metal is it, do you think?
It's aluminum?
I think it's aluminum.
I can ask my husband if he can weld that, because what we could do is we could just bring it home.
We need a sleeve for the top left corner. If we can get that top left corner figured out, we can leave the gold alone. I already looked at prices. They're around $1,100-1,200 for each of those.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
Okay,
We
well,
had them in the
I'll get-
budget to replace right before COVID, and then COVID hit, and we never replaced them, and someone said, oh, they're okay, let's just get the nets, and that's what we did, but those were due to be replaced a long time ago,
Okay,
so.
what size are those ones, do you know?
I will send you the dimensions. I already figured it
Okay.
out. Dan's got an alibi.
Or no, I just have a question.
No.
Can you come closer?
I saw that the nets, I didn't see any weights on the nets, and I was concerned as a ref.
I was doing tacks in the back, but ideally, we should do weights next time.
We have weights.
Okay. Are they in the
Bags, yeah.
Are they in the
Those weren't knotted down?
Are they in the shed? Okay. We have to clean that out, by the way.
They should be, that's where they were.
If you don't have any, you need to get.
Lori said we have weights in the
We
shed. I
have
didn't know about
extra
that.
we bought an extra pair of bags last year. We have bags for all of them, even for the small ones. Those
Yeah.
definitely
If
should
we-
have been weighted.
If we'd cleaned the
That's
shed, I
reason
would've known
got
about
on
them.
the
I didn't know they were in there.
Yeah, those, yes.
I have the new
Your
net.
kids have died.
I didn't know we have
because
the new
those are
weights.
not-
Because I don't go more than halfway into the shed, because there's a snake in there. I've seen them. I'm not doing
The
it.
bags, they just,
I told you I would go
I
play with the
know,
snake.
I will go play with it too.
I know, but the snake,
I went to,
taking care of the mouse problem.
He is.
Exactly,
So
so
it
a
is.
snake can live there.
there was one at the, Acton Post
went
Office
to
the other
Granby
day
Rose,
too. Someone put a picture up. That's interesting.
playing mini golf, and I was like,
In the
look at the
lobby.
snake, and I was like holding the snake around.
Yeah,
All right.
nice snakes.
Individual.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take the mice.
So we're gonna move on a little bit. So cheer, this is where I'm trying to figure out, because I know James needs Tuesdays, so I'm trying to make sure it's okay for us to use the cafeteria for cheer practice. They don't seem to think it's going to be a problem because of our divisions that we're doing.
They did last year.
Yeah, we're gonna do, it's gonna be on Tuesdays because that's when Nicole can do her practices. So we're going to do pre-K through second grade will be 5 to 6 p.m. Third and fourth grade will be 6 to 7, and fifth through eighth will be 7 to 8. So our fifth through eighth group should be able to use the gym.
I know that there's a lot of meetings here, but is there any reason why we couldn't do some stuff here for practices, like cheer practice? Would this,
I wouldn't, I think this would be too short.
Too short for
if we didn't have enough room at the school is all I'm.
I think this would be, for gymnastics that we want to do, we could do it in here, but I don't think we could do cheer in here because you think about those flyers, they're working on lifting them up in that. I wouldn't, nope.
I would say maybe the pre-K to second, the height would be fine, but you go to
I
fifth,
wouldn't-
you go fifth to
all in
eighth,
one
they'd get
night.
too tall going in the
Well, then,
air.
well, we're
We've
doing,
always used the cafeteria.
I was gonna say, we're doing practice all one night anyways, so it would basically be pre-K through the fourth grade that would have to use the cafeteria.
So make sure you ask if they can, they can move the tables if
Yeah.
they're gonna do in the
Yeah, and
cafeteria.
at least those are easy enough, they just roll.
Yes.
So, that's fine, and I've already talked to Christy a little bit about that, so I'll just touch base with her again.
And also whether the bleachers are to be open for practices, and who's gonna do that? That's one thing that is question, so just to put on your list for that.
Bleachers. I'm assuming if the bleachers were already open for the middle school team, that they would just stay open.
They wanted to know whether we wanted them open or closed and who was gonna do it last year. So it's just one thing that you wanna discuss with them, that's all. We kept them, I think we kept them closed for practice, and then we had,
I mean, I think I'd probably leave them with however they have them when we go to do it. If they're closed, and then,
that's not what the school wanted. They wanted to know, because they didn't want to come in the next day. One of the biggest issues with the school, with the basketball, is having things
Backed
back
out.
to where they were, where the nets, the heights of the nets and everything else.
oh, speaking of,
I'd like to standardize that if we can.
Yeah.
if, do
Yeah.
the nets go low enough for our pre-K kids?
Yes.
They do, okay,
Oh, yeah.
perfect. We just need to know what the level is that they're at for your teams?
I will, okay, so this is a big.
For your
this is
middle school
honest-
team.
This is honestly a big talking point.
No.
No, like for everything. We've been playing the Wild Wild West and.
I know.
We've gotten, with rules, we've gotten into it a little bit. I wouldn't say getting into it, but I had parents chirping at me on the sidelines.
Yes.
Like, oh, you gotta go to midfield for goal kicks. So that's, I don't wanna go into a rabbit hole. What I wanna say generally, I would like to publish on the website, wherever that is, by the way. Like, there was supposed to be a new website coming
I was like,
out
did
that
you
got
get to meet with Jen
contracted.
about that?
Okay, I'm sorry?
Did you meet with Jen Rue in regards to the
She
website?
did. It's being contracted or
Okay.
someone else is doing it. And
I thought we were getting the permission to be able
have
to have
permission
the
to
link.
post on the current website, but she's like, that's gonna change any day, any
Right,
week
but we
now,
should
so.
be prepared for that, so you
Yes.
should all have your bios up on, ready to go, so that when the
Yeah.
website is gonna be launched.
Remember Sam like published them to
there.
Facebook or something and then, but we could put that bios up, but, I wanna put standardized rules up there. So when I got the parents chirping at me on the sideline when I'm reffing or coaching, I go, it's on the website and we can have a flyer sitting on the scorer's table for every basketball game and then every sport after.
Yep.
Parent wants to come up, hey, here's the rules.
And where are we gonna?
Here they are.
What rules are we following? So it's always been that whatever town you went to, it was
their rules.
their rules.
Yeah.
It would be nice if we're playing other towns, is to get a meeting with whoever is gonna do that.
And that's gonna be me and Sam's job
Okay,
is
you're
to
gonna go
coordinate and get on the
with
same
them,
page for.
And then also check with the junior high as to what the junior high's rules are. So
Those are
because
already
of.
set.
Yeah,
Those are
cool.
good.
And
Thank
that's
you.
what I was gonna actually
That's one of
suggest.
the biggest things that I've been like, I want to
Yep.
see done.
Whatever
That way
the,
they merge and
well,
do
whatever the
gracefully.
school's rules are that they follow,
Yep.
they're following for other towns as well.
Yes. Yep.
So that's, so what I'd like to do, now that we have our in, I'd like to be able to have the same rules that the middle school follows, because it's only going to help our kids going up to
Yeah.
teach them the proper way, instead of us teaching them one way as their pre-K, and then, they get to
Other
first,
than
second.
links- other than links of
Because
time.
there's certain things that the pre-K and different
yes.
grades
Yes.
do, yeah, okay.
Yes, I mean,
The
they're gonna
rules
have
will-
more flexibility,
The rules
but,
will be there, maybe we have a one-liner bullet. Refs have subjectivity when it comes to a kindergartner, when it comes to traveling with the ball.
Yeah.
Type of deal.
So-
The
so-
rule's there, but a ref's
Yeah,
not
like-
gonna, as soon as he takes one step,
But kindergarten, they never called fouls, yeah.
no, but I'd like to have our
would
one set of rules.
rules are set, and then the refs have that subjectivity and
Yeah,
training to
but like
go.
in the bottom, I would do,
Tweak
the
it per
travel and,
grade.
We can do that too.
Deter
Yeah,
kids
I would
from
tweak it
going,
per
oh, yeah,
grade.
I'm good at this, and then go to up
Have
to another
something to
school and
go
go,
on.
exactly it.
So
You're
that's
doing
one
it
of the
all
things
wrong.
is,
What do you-
like,
the kid
you might
then,
have
like, beats
different
himself up.
thought as to a different
Teaching
coach and
boundaries,
whatnot, so,
lines.
so to have it
As the
for
season progresses.
you,
Yeah.
for the coaches
When we
on
did
top.
soccer, I actually did break it out per grade
Yeah.
when we coordinated with, so it's
It
no
really
problem.
should be.
It might be a front and
And
back
it's only-
pager, but it's no problem.
A few things that are changing, really.
and if
Yeah,
you,
times and,
Yeah.
if you get a copy from the school and then you,
I'll get one Tuesday.
if you add your tweak notes or whatnot for the grades,
So before we meet with the other town, I'll have it ready.
yeah, and then if you send it to me, I can come here and I can print out as many copies as we need.
Sounds good.
That way nobody else has to work, you don't have to go anywhere and,
And the coach, are you giving the coaches like the binders with
Yes.
the things? So each one of those should have
Printout.
a
the
printout
printout
of it.
of the
Yep.
rules so that they can go by them and the same thing with drills. I mean, every coach has an idea, but what we've run into is coaches that don't really have a background of sports,
Oh, we've got a
but
couple.
they step up to coach.
I think we're
So-
slowly but surely addressing that through osmosis. I mean, I've given my time to even combine practices with people that had the
Yeah.
deer in the headlights, so I would hate to have a standardized coaching plan, but
Wouldn't have to be, but some things for them to go by, so if they don't know
because
what they're doing, so just a
I'm
few
gonna
different
give, here's
suggestions.
my suggestion to them. Google.com and YouTube.com. That's what I'm gonna tell them, honestly. I don't,
Because the problem is if you make it where everybody that's coaching is the volunteering and they're trying to just be able to fill in that void.
so, yeah, Lori,
If we
I'm
make
not
it
dismissing
too,
what you're saying. What you're saying is completely valid. I've just been doing it myself, and I've been making sure we don't have the skill gap, or James has been really good about just.
Oh, yeah.
He sees something going on and he helps coach, and give ideas and stuff. Me and James literally in this last skills and drills, the guy running it hurt himself.
and you told me that.
Can't run it anymore. And me and James were standing there and, after he gets over his horrific injury, he's sitting there just giving us guidance the rest of practice and we just picked it up and did it. So that's how, right now, I guess it's not ideal, that's not formalized, we don't have coaches come in fully trained, and we don't have something to hand them, like a binder with what we give them to go, here's 2 pages of drills. And maybe I'm shooting down your idea prematurely, maybe we do that, include that in the coaches.
Maybe you could
manual.
Actually,
I could make a list.
I was like, that would be
Suggestions is what I'm saying.
That's how we've
People-
done it.
Because,
It's your-
one,
it's
people
your
don't have the
team.
time as it is.
Or just
I understand, because, yeah, for me to plan
Something that they
practices, I
can
do it off the top of
look
my
at.
head, and it takes me
Yeah,
hours.
you do, but
I like that idea of doing a suggestion.
Yeah,
A suggestion sheet. It doesn't have to be, you have to follow this, let's do a suggestion, you
I'm gonna
know,
walk
if you're
it back.
looking for,
And like
for ideas.
Ideas of different drills, that's all.
It could be a link, if you want to
link,
look
yeah.
I'll look stuff up. It could be a link to a YouTube
Sure.
page, channel.
I had, yeah,
Just
I
for
had a few
suggestions.
different ones that were great ones for basketball, and it showed the kids a different, it was, geez, one of the cartoon things, and it was different cartoons, I don't even remember which cartoon it was, but it was showing the different things, and I sent it to each parent and said, can you have your kids watch this? It was fun for them to watch, but it broke it down so the kids could see what was,
Well,
you know.
I'm thinking coaches too.
Yeah, but-
So
right.
We want to teach kids skills, and we're not like with soccer.
well
I am not
versed.
versed in soccer skills.
Right.
So I watched what he did.
Yep.
But if I had a video to go, you know, what should
Yeah.
YouTube it and just.
Maybe like a visual
Just a different.
Cheer
I
did,
used to
high
have
school
a
cheer
few.
did that
I don't
for
even know if I
Haley.
have
They
them
actually,
anymore.
the coaches emailed the kids all the video of what it looked like so they could actually
Well,
just
what we're gonna do
process
this,
it on
this is
their
what we're
own.
gonna do this week. And,
I don't know, it has to
If the coaches want to do that, for sure,
It doesn't have to be that in-depth.
for sure.
If you say, hey, here's what we're gonna do this week, and you email them all,
If the coaches have that time, I would love that.
that would be, you know, now they know.
And I can be on my coach's distro and send them what I'm planning every week too. That's real easy for me because I write a plan every week.
I just think it's sharing information, they can do their own, they can make it their own, but this
Yeah.
is just.
Suggestions.
God bless.
Suggestions and some introductions.
I would just be the deer in the headlights because I wouldn't know where
Right.
to
Yeah.
begin. So if I could look at a little cheat sheet and
Yep.
just say, oh, all right, so yeah, so we'll start here, and just
So I-
have that roadmap, just
Yeah,
that.
that's all. That's
I
all
want
I'm
to
saying.
apologize to Lori. I'm going to walk it back. I already do this in my own time. It's no extra work to just put it on a piece of paper and give it out to coaches. So I will take that as an action
We vote
item
on
for,
this?
if you want,
All in favor to give more information to our coaches?
and have TJ own the skills and drills suggestions. I am more than happy to do that because I already do it.
That was one of the first things
And if
I
you-
said to him and James, can you guys do this for me? Because I have no idea. And I mean, I was left with being the only one there, and I was like, please? He's like, well, what are we doing for this, for basketball? And I'm like, I don't know, what are we supposed to do? And that is a horrible feeling as someone that's trying to keep it together and that really doesn't have any clue. I can research it, but I started researching it, and I gotta tell ya, there is a lot of information out there, and there's a lot of different opinions on a lot of different things. So I was still, after researching it, lost, like, what is the best thing to get our kids up to the high school levels and stuff? And that's why I was like, you guys know way more than me, let's form something. And James is great at that too, so. He did a lot for basketball for me.
Yes, he did.
This is, just if you want to look at it, this is one of the ones that, from years ago, that when we were going to try to go for, it's not basketball, it's baseball. But that is a lot of the rules for,
This is pretty good.
to go towards,
The suggestion sheet, yeah, nice. I like this.
but to bring us to Little League sanctioned, because Lisa Long was big, she wanted us to go Little League sanctioned, so I believe these are a lot of the rules for Little League, so if you
Can I keep
start.
this?
Yep, you can.
Oh, are they? Because that's what I was trying to find, and I couldn't find.
I don't know if these are all the sanctioned Little Leagues, but we were at that point where we were coming up with all the rules as a board. I mean, we literally had meetings and sat here and went
Over rules.
line after line after line, going over
Hours
rules.
and hours
The
of
only,
research.
yes, it is, but the only problem that I find with that is it's great to have other input, but I don't know the rules. So I don't want to vote on something that I don't know, so I would rather give it to someone that knows a lot
Yes.
more
I
about
made a lot of-
sports than the board actually voting on it. That's just my
I
opinion.
made a lot of authoritarian decisions, and I'm lucky that no one kicked back and was like, no, 35 foot for that. I don't know what you're talking about. Everyone just kind of went with the flow. That kind of speaks to the spirit of this town. But I really want to have things standardized. I don't want to be researching for 12 hours for every sport, putting together my sheet, and then teaching the other refs. James, not really a ref, but he volunteers, Dan volunteers, and he goes, okay, so what's the layout here, what are we doing? And I'm like, well, here's the rules that I researched, and it's like, we can't, that's not sustainable, I don't wanna do it that way, so this is awesome, I love it.
And I have one that was a standard 18, 19, whatever, for chair.
Oh,
And we picked some stuff for that. I only have one copy, so I don't really, if we want to make a copy of that
Yeah, I can't do,
afterwards.
I can't do it today because we can't get into the office.
No, I don't mean today, but I do have that. I had one for everything, and,
Do you have them online by chance or no? Okay.
I mean, I can copy them and send you a picture of them, but
Well, I can.
do that. But
Either that
these
or-
were ones that the rec board 5 or 6 years ago, adopted, that this is the rules that we're gonna do from this point forward, but,
Love it.
Yeah, and that's a really good way to start populating the website.
Yes.
Without doing
Yes.
A lot of footwork, we could
That
just
is
scan
one of
them
the
in and
things.
post
Yeah.
them.
I
'Cause I-
really want to see happen.
I want to post some of those on, the
Do you want me to
Facebook
approach
page
Jen
too.
again and post for basketball and see how it goes until they switch over? Let's start giving this stuff a home as well. Do you want me to ask Jen Rue?
Yes.
Okay.
Or at least start post, even if we
Yeah,
don't get
see
it
if
on
you
a
can at least-
website, have it at the fields or at the court.
Yeah,
have
we're
it
gonna-
in each
I plan on
coach's
having flyers, yeah.
Bible,
Yeah.
Yeah, and
a binder.
A Bible.
Sport
Store,
Bible.
we could just start the basketball forward,
Yeah.
so we'll do basketball and the tree lighting and whatever else is kind of in between. So
Yeah.
let's just,
But I think the key part is going to the junior high and getting their outline and going from there, because they're obviously, whoever did those rules are going with the rules for the high school that our kids are gonna be playing.
Just for clarity, we're also gonna be documenting rules for the venue too, right? Like when we use a basketball court, we coordinate with the principal first or the athletic director first.
Yes.
So we have like the sports rules is one thing, and then the venue rules, because you said that would also change with each town. So we would be able to say like no drinks, for example. I don't know
Yeah,
if
because
that's
every,
no dogs allowed, whatever.
Right, so that way we're handing them all of the rules of.
Yeah, because
Here's the
This
rules we're
field,
doing.
this is what's
Correct.
expected of you. and-
Yep, we have one porta potty.
The lawyer and the policy analyst over here has
hey,
seen.
it's the good thing, because at the field, we're allowed pets. At the school, we're not supposed to have pets because there's signs all over. I didn't really enforce it because I didn't see any issues, and there's only a couple of them.
didn't
That was
know.
bad.
Oh, yeah, you did say that morning. though.
And they were very
As soon as they saw
gracious.
them, they left.
They were
Well,
very gracious.
there was two that I saw that were, but they weren't causing problems, and they're also ones that are also well-known in the school, so I wasn't too worried.
What grade are we doing for the youngest? So soccer, like we went down to 3. What are we doing for basketball
Pre-K.
age-wise?
So everything is supposed to be pre-K. We do have 2 kids that are most likely signing up that are like 10 days missing that pre-K deadline. And they know that they're going to be playing with pre-K and K, so they know the ages.
Yeah.
But if they're only like, because I'm like, this, I was thinking about it, I'm like, Kara would have, if she played last year, she would have been, just turned 4. And would have been playing with these kids that could have been almost 6, and it would have been,
She's not gonna get the ball more than this much
Yeah.
off her chest.
So we're keeping basketball as pre-K?
yes, we're keeping everything. The only thing that we had dropped down was when we did the tumbling class.
Oh, we're
Everything
not to
else,
Baseball and,
everything else was pre-K.
oh, okay, we changed that a couple of years ago.
I was gonna say, everything that I saw in the forms were all pre-K, so I kept everything as pre-K, that way we
We
had.
did it as the parents' discretion, if the
Well,
parents
that's-
thought that they could keep up with the kids. Because there's a big difference between some 3.5-year-olds and some 3.5-year-olds,
Oh,
so.
I know, yes. I mean, look at 5 and 5, some of the kids are.
But, I mean, or we keep it straight through, I mean.
I was doing it as pre-K through,
Okay.
that way it was, and if there was a kid that in November turned that pre-K age,
Like Katrina's, Serenity is not till the end of February. She won't be forward till the end of February.
It would be discretion. I would probably say, me personally, I would probably say no, but at the same time, if you think that they can keep up and not slug down everybody else, I would be fine with it.
Do we have that flexibility?
I think we do. Because, I mean, we were able to drop down our own
It's
ages.
working so far, and if kids are too young.
The parents are good with pulling them back if they're not.
Baseball is a little bit easier because they're sitting around versus basketball. I think basketball is one of those ones that you might want to wait because it will.
Yeah.
It's a big, heavy.
Higher skill
and
cap,
come
fourth
at you
floor.
fast and
Yeah,
hard.
I just thought of it because our
Tumbling
little one
is
is.
just
Yep, I think
individual sport.
I think I've had 2 parents that reached out to me because their kiddo turns 4 November 4th and November 5th. So I told them if they feel comfortable with them playing with pre-KK kids, I said, know that these kids can be up to 6 years old. If you feel comfortable with it, then that's on you.
Discretion, that's.
Yep.
Then I would have them come try it and
Nice way of
see.
doing it.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, one of them is Danielle's daughter.
Okay.
She's gonna come.
So if we, and I'm not a coach, but if the coaches see someone who's just totally out of their element. and
Yeah,
they're gonna get
we all
creamed, do
talked.
We have.
We did it during soccer.
Discretion to pull them out,
Well, the coaches,
reassign them.
yep, the coaches have the discretion if they can talk with the parent, and if they have more concerns that don't go well with talking with the parent,
It's
then they
real
talk to
easy.
me.
The
But yeah.
parents almost make the decision for you.
Yeah.
When a parent sees their kid out there struggling and not having a good time, the coaches don't even really have to
Yeah,
do
we've
anything.
had a couple of special needs children that we've brought down for, those reasons in the past, and, I don't ever want to turn away.
I had to go,
In
I had to
soccer,
go to you
remember
a couple
that?
of times and be like, Connor's got asthma and he's not gonna tell you he needs to come off,
Yeah.
pull him off.
I said, Connor, are you good to go? And then I could
He's
tell he
going,
wasn't.
yeah, I'm fine.
Holding his chest and he's like, I want to stay. Yeah. And then I was like, "Connor,
Can we jump to the next? Sorry. So now we're gonna go on to the Christmas tree lighting. Sorry, Dan. That's what,
I missed that.
see, that's what he was coming
Do
for.
you want to call just a really brief timeout so we can bring Crystal back in for the
She
Christmas
left.
tree lighting?
She's gone.
left her stuff.
Yep, I gotta bring home.
Gotcha.
Yeah, she sent me text. Okay, so Christmas tree lighting. So I got to have a meeting with the church board, which went fantastic.
Geez, there's a surprise.
I know, right? I got to talk, I mean.
Well, they're just so lovely.
Yes, so I did get to meet with them on Zoom, even though I was terrible. I had set my alarm and for some reason my alarm never went off, or I somehow turned it off earlier.
Can I just, real quick, one quick thing on here?
Yes.
It says youth sizes, but it doesn't have adult size. Well, that doesn't even
Just,
matter.
yeah, just
Never
write the
mind.
adult size on the side if you need an adult.
Just for future is all those.
Oh, yeah. Because we only have a few kids that go for the adult, other than that, it's all the, so I talked with them, I felt terrible because when they were on their Zoom, all of a sudden I get a phone call from one of them, and I realized it was 4:20, the meeting was at 4, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. So I called, I got on with them, and it was great. So they're going through a kitchen remodel right now, so their kitchen's all gutted out, they're hoping it'll be done in the next 2 or 3 weeks, so hopefully it'll be before our Christmas tree lighting. But with that said, they definitely are interested in setting up. They're actually going to set up the storybook area that we have. I have talked with Miss Goodwin, who is the librarian at the Acton Elementary School, and she is 100% in and in love with the idea of her coming in and reading the story. So they're going to set her up a cozy little space in the church. That way it's more quiet than being in here with all the activities going on. They'll set her up a cozy little space in the church. They were already envisioning the setup that they were going to do for her. That way she can do what she does best with the books. Then we were discussing what's gonna go where, and I told them that we wouldn't really be able to pinpoint what's going to go where until they get everything finalized over there, and then we have a meeting of both of our boards together. I said, any ideas that you guys have, definitely pass down to us, we'll take them. And then we have a bunch of ideas ourselves that we're looking at doing. And they said, just tell us what you need from us and we'll go from there. So I said, fantastic. So with that being said, we had talked, we would like to meet the end of this month with both boards together. So that way we can see where they're at in the church. It'll be 2 weeks before the actual event and we can finalize where everything's going to go. What's the,
Confused. Before you were saying a lot of stuff was off the table. Is that back on the table now? Whether it's the rehearsal for the carol or whatever?
oh, no, we're not doing Carol.
Okay.
Carol Minahan, we were told no for doing.
Right, so the stuff we were told no for, and then you're soliciting us for ideas now, are any of the old ideas that got shot down possible to bring back to the table, or?
What will we shut?
If she, so Carol Minahan, or, I'm sorry, Terry Minahan had actually asked us in regards to doing a gingerbread theme play.
Oh, during the tree lighting?
Well, no, doing that through the month of November for basically pre-K and K kids.
Offering is like a short.
And then she was going to have it be a performance December 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. And I had suggested it would be awesome if she could do the performance on the 3rd at the tree lighting. And the selectmen turned us down.
Why?
Because it's not sport related. So-
There's Christmas tree lighting.
I know,
We were
and it was-
asked to take it on.
It goes perfectly with the Christmas tree lighting. So that's kind of been pushed back again.
So you're soliciting us for ideas,
So-
we're just gonna do, give you
our own
more
events.
ideas, and then we have to,
Like we have, like right now, we have the bookmark making, that Jordan's gonna do.
Okay, what about,
We're gonna do cookie decorating. We're gonna try to do ornaments.
Okay.
We're gonna have some sort of food thing going on. We're gonna have hot cocoa. We're gonna do,
we're clear to do all that.
we're clear to do all that. The only other
I
thing
was
that.
confused why we weren't clear to do
No,
other stuff.
no, so it's, I know, it's more so of finding where we're going to do it, because what we want to do is we also want to have some games options out there, because we're doing 4 to 7.
Sure.
So the littles are going to probably come through around that 4 time zone. The littles are probably going to come through around that 4 time zone, and then they'll be here when Santa gets here, be able to take pictures, and then they'll be able to go while the older kids cycle in.
4 to 7, not?
We're doing 4 to
Originally,
7.
you said 3 to 7.
No, 4 to 7.
Because it literally usually is about an hour.
Yeah, no, we're doing,
Thing from start to finish.
we're doing 4 to 7, so that way everybody has a chance to come in and do their thing.
It's gonna be a long, I feel that's gonna be a long time, and that's gonna be spread out too much for what we do.
Santa,
I think it'll
Santa doesn't-
fly by more
it'll-
faster than we
yeah.
realize. It'll fly by with
It'll
that
fly by
many.
farther.
I mean, we've done this for 4 years now, and that's a long time for.
What do you usually do?
She said an hour.
hour.
So do we
It's
find?
literally, I mean, people are here for maybe an hour.
Is it possible to compromise for 2 hours, or are we stuck on 3 hours?
I've already advertised it out as 4 to 7.
Okay.
And the other thing with that too is if we're doing, so think of 4 to 7. Me personally, I've never come, it's always been too late with little kids. So thinking of that younger generation, and you're kind of in the crossfire because you've got younger and you've got older. So thinking of the younger kids in that, where my kids, by 6:30, they're starting to wind down to go to bed, and at 7 o'clock, they're usually in bed, but they're up at 5.
The problem is Santa doesn't even stay for that time. Santa comes, lights the tree, does his pictures, and then, once everyone's done with the pictures, he leaves. He's here
And that's
for
fine.
like 20 minutes.
He's free to
So
go.
if someone comes at 7 o'clock and they think Santa's gonna be here at 3 o'clock,
Well, we could
Well, we need
advertise
to-
Santa will only
Santa's, no, Santa's not coming until 5, and he already knows that.
schedule.
but he's not gonna be here 5 to 7. He's never, I mean, unless you make arrangements for
He's
him,
gonna
that's
take off.
not.
I have to reach out to him again anyways, because I have to follow up.
He's
So
literally.
the only thing that was publicized is the save the date, right? So we've got save December 2nd,
Time-wise?
3rd, whatever it is. We did the save the date. We haven't done the schedule, so we have some room.
Yeah.
We've never put an end time either, we just did it like a start.
Did you
time.
advertise the time,
Is
or?
The
I
magic,
thought I put the time out there.
the magic happens
always
after
change it.
dark, right?
Right.
So no one wants to come and see a tree get lit,
Well, the
when
tree's,
sun is
yeah,
still
the
set.
tree's not
So-
gonna be lit until 5.
My
Right, so
concern
it'll be dark.
is that if we're doing that long of a span, people are gonna expect to have, say, Santa there the whole entire time, or the tree lighted, it's,
They didn't expect him the whole time for the hour time frame, though, did
Right,
they?
but they
Santa-
came, like, okay, so.
Well, I can put out that Santa will be there from 5 to 3.
Right, yeah. we
Yeah,
can
I would
just-
definitely-
Hey, Santa will be here 5 to 6, everybody.
There you go.
This is
Okay.
good.
I think
We're
that
gonna
makes
talk,
more
it
sense
forces
now.
us to talk about the schedule, so.
Yeah.
We can revisit the time, and if we need to do a retraction, we've done it before. So we can just say,
And we,
in
yeah.
my mind, and you guys correct me, my mind says, all right, Santa's coming, and it's gonna be a little parade, and he's gonna, hit the remote control, and the tree's gonna light up, and then the party starts. So we know that Santa's gonna be here, at X time, and we'll all be outside eagerly awaiting Santa, and then the tree's gonna get lit, and then what else are we doing? We're gonna do pictures, we're gonna do cookies, we're gonna do decorations, maybe there's a little choir that's off, but whatever it is. And we could just say, plan to be here at 4 or 4:30. If Santa's not coming until 5, do we wanna start at 4?
But that gives the ability of the younger ones to do the activities and do
Without-
Santa on the way out as all the older kids see
Yes.
Santa come in and
That's
do.
fine.
So
Yeah, that's
hopefully we
fine.
kinda can almost like
So, yeah.
bracket that.
So that it's not a huge crowd going
Yeah, we
through.
have a focus,
Stand it
so,
out,
but we need to communicate that, so,
I definitely think meeting often over the next month is gonna be critical to pulling everything together smoothly, so no one's feeling a week before chaos and feeling stressed.
Right.
Exactly, it's run smoothly for years and years and years. It's really not.
And we're gonna take that
Then we should-
idea, and
yeah,
we're just
then
gonna
we should
expand on it a
alter it a
little bit.
whole lot.
And I don't think it needs to be this big production, but I like the stations with the cookie decorations and,
Jordan's gonna print out,
Because if you think of
ornaments
every,
too, so it's not, she said she would be willing to do ornaments with, and so we'll plan on cutting out, working over the next
We've always
month.
done like an ornament that we buy that they can put together.
Yes.
I've done both with paper and a purchased ornament, which you could do with that, with the
We'll
bookmarks
say we can
and
go to
stuff.
Dollar Tree and buy a ton of different arts and
Amazon
crafts
has
stuff
different-
to
like
glue
$1
on,
each
and
at Walmart, right, and they have like big boxes of them for like.
there's clear plastic ones at Dollar Tree, they're balls and sphere ones. Sorry, the $1.25 store now. That's what we call it, but they're, we got a bunch of those on top of the paper ones, they can decorate, put in,
Pretty
and
ribbon, we can start going, stocking up at Martin's. I think it can be really simple and I think it can be really fun. So, but I totally agree with Lori. We don't wanna, Mary Grant was lovely. You went to Mary Grant and everyone was there for the fellowship, to carve their pumpkin, and everything else was kind of secondary, right? All of those kids came, they were excited to grab their pumpkin, they did their pumpkin, they did the little trail walk. We did we didn't do the scarecrow, we didn't do the mummy, but we did do the donuts, so there was.
But it was just enough.
There was just enough stimulation. We didn't,
And they didn't
and I'm
need
sorry
more.
that Crystal's not here, they didn't need us to come and do more fun and games, because the mission
They
was
took care of
there.
it.
and
They already had it.
Embraced it, and it wasn't too much, it was just enough.
Yeah,
So
enough,
we
yeah.
need to be going back.
say,
to
keep
that.
it a smaller
Keep it
list, but
simple.
put a lot of dedication into what we're, instead of having like, so like field day. Field day, we had planned a ton of stuff, but what did we end up playing with? The water and the spray foam.
oh my God, that felt
It was,
fun. What's,
Just like, kind of like what you said, I think the thing about that is like, how it said, imagine, the focus, my opinion, just got a bunch of tree lightings, the focus should be the tree lighting in Santa, and everything else should be second to it and build up to it or away from it. Like, it should be, the kids want to come to Santa, they want to see those lights come up. That's the event, it is a tree lighting, not like a Christmas, it's a tree lighting event, so like, great for all the other ideas, but they should be like secondary, like, we're doing these if you come early, or if you want to stay later and do something with the kids.
Right, if you want to make an evening of it, you can,
So
yeah.
that's how it has been, and I think I personally done 2 hours, like you said, for the younger kids from the 4 to 5 leading up to Santa, and the families that come like right before the tree lighting, and they say, oh, well, since we're here, this conquers other stuff. I think when you're planning stuff, the focus should first and foremost be the tree, the magic of Santa.
And not necessarily like,
should we do like 4 to 6 then?
so, yeah.
What if
you
we
don't
did
even
4 to
have
6
do
like
it
everyone's gearing to
anytime.
4 and 6
So
right now.
you could do 4,
Just chop it
doors
in the
open
middle.
up 4 o'clock, Santa comes at 5 o'clock, simple. You want to keep it a little bit more simple, Santa comes at 5.
1 hour before, 1 hour after.
I know when we were originally talking, it was 3 o'clock, so that was, my concern is that's a huge.
Oh, yeah, no.
Santa's gonna be here.
People won't show up.
So, keep it a little bit simpler. I mean, the people aren't here for a long amount of time. Even when we did it, and we did it in both, we had potluck over there. We had the stations, for the most part, it's been, tables set up in here and different sections with the cookies like at the thing, and you went and got your cookies, and we had all the decorations for the cookies on the table so people could go and do their thing. And then we had the tables for, either scrapbooking or whatever you want to do in the ornament, in the sprinkles and all the markers and all that stuff out on the tables in here. And then we did the potluck in there. because this is really too small to do everything, and we did Santa in there. We had a movie going in there. You could do, and I think one time someone did do a book reading in there. But, so they went, you know, they came in here, they went in there to do like the movie in between the time, and then when Santa came, and pretty much after Santa comes, people kind of leave.
So how many kids are streaming through, roughly? 50, 100?
Not even 100, no, I would say
We might get more though, having the
may.
those small added stuff that leads up to it, you might get
So
more.
COVID, I don't know, what we have, 40 or 50? I'd say average around maybe 50.
I think we're building a lot of goodwill in the town, and not to take anything away from you and your boards or any board prior to this, but I think I see a lot of community spirit, and I see, you know, a lot of these kids out in the street in other parts of town, and, you know, they recognize us and they're excited and they want to share things with us, so I'm really hoping that we can build on
And I
that.
think COVID took away from a lot of
Yeah.
people, so this is now really the push to like, everybody wants to be back together
But,
and
and
doing
also,
stuff.
we used to do it always was on Thanksgiving weekend, and I've always wanted to do it a different weekend, because I think Thanksgiving weekend is just.
that's crazy.
That's why I think anytime it's been done on
Yeah,
Thanksgiving
no,
weekend, the numbers
that's too
have been
much.
low.
Thanks.
We've always, when we've been doing it through the rec, we've done, you know, enough to have up to 100 people. So I think 100 would be the magic number, just to make sure that we had enough. And what we're buying, other than cookies and stuff, what we're buying is stuff that we can use in the future too. So, you know, I would do at least 100, I think I said even 125 last year.
We should count on around 100, and they'll come in like a couple of waves. Some people are just gonna come
Yeah.
and get some hot cocoa
yeah.
and head out.
And that's kind of what I was,
And do we know how long Santa's staying for?
I have to call him
So
this
like,
week.
say he's like 5 to 5:30, so we have the 4 to 5 for the younger crowd leading up to Santa, and then 5:30 to 6:30, that second wave coming through after Santa.
Because I'd like to
And
put
then we
an
break
end,
down from 6:30 to 7 and out the door by 7:15.
gonna say, I would like to put an end time, just because of the fact that you could have somebody at home that's like, oh, well, we might have missed Santa, but there's still activities going on, maybe we can still go.
Oh, I think an end time is important.
I think we need to have an end time, that way we're not breaking down and somebody's showing up and been like, oh, I was hoping we were gonna, I'm sorry.
So can we tie into other elements? Can we like have printouts of some song as Santa's coming, and maybe it's something silly like Here Comes Santa Claus?
Yeah, that's
I don't know.
We did.
Do we do the
Yeah.
religious thing, or do we
Here
do the
Comes Santa
commercial
Claus.
thing? And see, you know, put a shout out to acting residents who might sing, maybe someone's associated with the choir, maybe we can get someone to kind of
Terry?
lead us.
Is Terry coming?
I'm gonna call, I'll talk to her.
Hop into that, and maybe the winners of the Croc Fest, you know, maybe we could ask them,
Oh, yeah, because this will be after the Croc Fest.
right? So if they'd like to bring their award-winning something, and then we can offer a bite, and maybe we can have, you know, I'm happy to make some cookies. I don't know if Lori Beth Fowler.
She's donating some.
Not. So I just think we can do something warm out of crock pots.
Yes.
And if we needed to pay for the ingredients, I'm sure we could scrape that together. We did that for Quinn when she did the chili for the dogs. I would just like to bring like the whole community together to the extent that we
Yeah.
can.
And gives them a little spotlight for winning and stuff.
And then we bring more people who maybe don't have kids who are interested in this any longer, but, you know, because so-and-so, you know, won the chowder or the chili, we can get that, and we can, you know, get a couple of their friends to kind of come in.
Yeah.
It just builds on what we're trying to do.
They've done it a couple of different ways, for food-wise. In the past is, a lot of times they've done a, potluck where people can bring their own. We tried to do that 4 years ago, and we got a few donations. And I even did the potluck thing online to see if people would donate for even paper goods and all that type of stuff. My family ended up doing a lot of food, and the majority of the food was what I brought. So if we didn't do what we did, then we wouldn't have had enough food for
Did
people.
come to?
Yeah,
and
people
then-
came
then
and
it's all
ate,
worth
so
it.
I
I'm
guess.
happy to bring a crock
No,
pot.
I'm happy to do it too, but I think we need to either, I'm afraid to rely on opening it up to,
And then have them not follow.
and not having enough food. But in the past, there was 20-something crock pots,
Right.
you know, I mean, 10 years
there's
ago.
no reason to think that wouldn't happen today.
One year, I think it was Terry Minahan did pasta, and they just did a pasta meal and put it out. So we could do whatever we wanted if we want to do food. My only concern is that we have, however we do it, that we have enough to feed people.
I know when I talked to the church was more than happy to help do some food things as well, because they all made the comment, oh, we could all make something too.
Is the kitchen,
That's why, so we're looking at trying to meet on November 20th. I gotta see if the date's available here, but I wanted to make sure everybody else was available as well. We were looking at November 20th at 11:30, because then it would be after the church services. Because we have a couple people over there that can't drive after dark. And where we can't do a Zoom, we have to do it in person. It kind of comes down to that. So it comes up if you guys can, because that'll give us 2 weeks before the event to finalize where everything's going and what we're doing for the food.
Sunday at 11:30?
Sunday at 11:30.
I'm not sure if I can make that or not.
Because that one would just be in regards to the Christmas tree lighting. It's nothing else, because it would be the two boards together.
I think that's great, and I think everyone has concerns about the kitchen, and that's not, you know, overlooked by me, but we can bring our own.
Well, they just did a big Thanksgiving dinner here. They do the pancake dinner or breakfast here every day. They do.
It's a sanitized surface.
Well, and we did the food at the church.
Yeah, well,
So
That may
if
or may not be an option, so if.
depends on their kitchen
Today,
region.
we're
Right.
looking at this
If-
as the kitchen, but the crock pot saves the day.
They have have you ever been in the church? Over there? So they have like all the tables set up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was nice to be able to have the things set up here, and then the food
fun
was in
here
the
and then-
church.
that's fine.
So, and that worked
We'll
out
do
great,
it
and that's
another
where Santa.
And then you're not getting
about
food all
Santa?
over.
Yes, I talked to them about putting Santa out there, or in there. I talked to them about, I said, I know in the past, they've also said something about running a movie in one of the rooms.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, absolutely. So they're looking at doing a movie that can play in there, like one of the older style Christmas movies.
So
So if it's cold and the kids need to get out of the weather for a little bit.
we did it two different, well, it's been done two different ways, and I've been there. We had the movie set up where Santa was, so the kids, instead of just sitting in line impatiently, they were watching the movie, and it was kind of cool. It was just a TV that they have on like a move-away
rolling cart.
cart, you know? So we had a movie set up there. In the past, they've had a movie set up in the back room, and that year we couldn't use the back room. There's a small area in the back, and it was like, people went in there for a few minutes and watched the movie and then left. They didn't stay to watch the movie. I think more people were apt to watch the movie here. Last year, we had, Terry Minahan did the Master of Ceremonies, and if, I don't know, any of you sing, like, that can, like,
I think TJ does.
does he?
DJ's done a great-
So Terry Minahan, for the past couple of years, when we've done it and done it outside, she's done like the Master of Ceremony kind of thing.
There he is. He volunteered
So I
to
don't know
sing
if
for
she
Christmas
would be-
carols.
Now, is it just the Christmas
So kind
carols?
of
or is
like,
it-
yeah, getting the kids up. She would come out and she would start, singing a couple of songs with the kids and just getting the kids excited. We would call everyone out to the tree lighting, and she would get everyone excited, you know, start and sing just a couple of caroling songs, and
I'd
then
love to
all
do
of a
that.
sudden, when you saw Santa coming out, she would sing, "Here Comes Santa Claus." So we could ask her if she would do that again. Yeah. She set up a huge blow-up movie projector thing out here, because it was all outside last year and the year before, and the pictures weren't ideal last year or the year before, because it was dark and stuff, but we did like Santa in front of the tree, but it was gorgeous. When we did Santa in front of the tree in the church, there's enough room that the photographer is not in the way, and she's all set. She just needs to know what time.
Perfect.
And she's far enough back that when we did it out here, people were tripping, like, we were trying to block off her extension cords, but it was kind of difficult. So over there, it's just perfect. It's a perfect setup, and it looks beautiful.
Well, I
So
wonder-
we want to ask them if they are having the tree in the.
Yep, I have that on. What it would be nice is if they could do, so I think what would actually work out better is if we do more of the activities in here, and instead of having the food in here, if, even at the tables, if the kitchen's not ready, if we're doing crock pots anywhere, if we can set up on the tables for the food in that, in there, where we're gonna have story time will be in there.
Yeah.
Have the movie and have pictures with Santa. They can grab food and then.
Chaos is here, the
Yeah.
jumping and the screaming and the
Yeah, and then
making, and then the quiet.
the calmness.
Dinner and warmth.
And that'll help for
done that a
different
few
sensory
times.
needs of different
Yes,
kids.
and
Because
they'll
you'll
be
have,
able-
if they can't handle the chaos in here, they go
There's a
grab some
quiet
food,
spot.
sit and hang out and just chill.
That's the way it's been done for the past few years, because we've had such a
Well, it'd
big
be quiet
turnout
Reading, would that
in
be?
the overflow.
Be the reading room in the movie room, probably.
And so, thank you. And coming back to Terry Minahan, is she on the church board?
No, she's not on the church board, but I see her every day.
Invite her to the meeting on the 20th,
I don't see why not.
you know, and she can maybe give us some feedback, what she might be willing to do,
Yep.
what we might want her to do.
And I have a projector and screen and, display if you need,
Times
if
that-
anyone. if-
Yeah, I mean, we've just, once you go to it and do it, we've just done the same thing that they've done, so we've never even, I mean, one year we had a whole bunch of meetings, Dan, remember? Dan's like, we have to meet, we have to meet, we have to meet, then the next year was like,
One of the-
no, we're just gonna do X, Y, and Z, and we didn't even have a meeting over it, other than the amount of money.
One of the things that I really, really, really want to do in regards to it, so I was talking, when I was on the phone with the board for them, we were talking about the initial, when this started and who it was. And I got the lady's name of who it was that started, and she started because her brother passed away to leukemia, I believe it was. So I was trying to get the full story behind that, because what I would like to do is I would like to pay tribute to that as we're keeping going. I'd like to post it on our Facebook page, and then basically make it so that everybody knows, you know, this is just to keep going. Well, one of the things that she had done when they first started this Christmas tree lighting back in the 80s was they had the Cub Scouts, it was the Cub Scouts at the time, come and decorate the tree. Well, we don't have a Cub Scout group here in Acton, but we do have the Girl Scouts. We have, what, 2 or 3 different groups in town? So what I'd like to do is I'd like to extend the invitation to the Girl Scouts to have them be the ones that decorate our tree.
Decorate,
They decorate the tree. So,
You put them on ladders, you just let them go nuts, right?
Look at the cherry picker.
well, it would be the same thing as the Cub Scouts used to do back in the day. So the lights and that will already be done, it's just hanging like the ornaments.
we never hung ornaments, so.
So what I'd like to do is I'd like to invite the Girl Scouts to be able to create their own ornaments and whatnot, and they can, or we can buy some other ones if we need to, and have them come and decorate the tree.
That'd be fun.
So that's my goal, is to reach out to the Girl Scouts. Lori.
Yeah, I'll reach out to Amanda too.
I did talk to her a little bit.
Okay.
Was cooking.
One thing that I love that.
Dan always wanted to do this.
Yeah, that was something that I was really, I had thrown an idea out when I was on the board about. I would love the idea of each family could make their own ornament.
That's a nice idea.
Oh, man.
And then have it.
That'd be awesome.
Bring the night, whatever, the lighting, because then it'll be up for Christmas.
I love that.
And like, obviously, they would put it on the tree, or something, but say, as a family, you want, here's a kit, you can do something, your name,
Yes.
picture, whatever, here's some ideas. And to be able to say, because then it's really a town tree.
Could we?
Tree does not stay up very long afterwards. So
That's
that
okay.
was my only concern.
Well, the thing is-
It's like up there for,
Maybe do it.
But they could be saved for the
Well,
following year.
it would be, they usually
Save
do
them
it
for the
like,
following year and you're just building the
or
town.
you could,
so what if we put
Collect
out?
them and we can get bins for them and we can store them. I mean, they're not expecting
yeah,
these
we
back,
could
but
do.
we would hang
So
them.
what if
it would be cool, start
the
that
Girl
as a
Scouts have
tradition,
it.
and then the Girl Scouts Scouts could do some.
Yeah.
But the Girl Scouts.
And then every year afterwards, the Girl Scouts could come, or.
every year
the Boy
we
Scout
can
troop,
still-
And the girls, they
hanging
could
them up.
hang up what was from the year before, that
I
would
was
be
like, because the tree's still huge, so if we could get every family to make an ornament, have a cutoff date for when they need to turn it in, we'll set a box up someplace, I'll talk to Jen, we'll set up a box probably on the table that they have out here to see if they can drop it off by a certain date, and then the Girl Scouts can make, say that they make 24 more ornaments themselves, and then they'll hang all of those up. And say the tree's only up for another week or two after that, we'll go out, we'll have to take them all down, put them in a box, we'll store them, and then next year we have them, and people again, next year can make more.
We have a steady supply.
Because it
I
won't
like
be,
that
it won't
idea.
be a huge amount on the first year, but every year will be getting more and more.
And LED lights on ours, we're gonna do a waving elf, we're gonna pimp
We're
ours
getting
up.
more families to come because the kids will want to see their tree.
Yes.
And then they'll be like, actually, like, look, oh, there's our ornament. I just think I'll give them
Yeah, that'd
more
be
sense of
fun.
pride.
Amazing
Get
idea.
More people.
That would be cool.
engaged to the
Love it.
parents, and we want to see it lit up with our ornaments.
Yep. How many Girl Scouts are there?
Our troop's only three.
There's only 3?
In our troop, there's.
How many total do we have in town?
I love that idea.
How many are
This
in?
idea a while ago, I just-
Amanda Winter
11?
has about 12.
11 or 12, yeah.
So if we have each of them make 2, so that we have a total of 24 plus all of the families?
We'll talk to Amanda and figure out something, and, because we could do that with the younger group. It would be fun for us, the older group, to do that with the younger group, so.
So I'll put that you'll make 1 to 2 each kid.
Virginia?
Yeah,
does
we
this
can,
feel-
maybe I'll
this
go
sound like
look
something
for
your girls would
something
want
so
to
that
do?
Amanda's not paying for it. We'll go look for something that they could do. Yeah.
There you go.
I have a super random outside of the box thought, because you said it started because of a family that lost somebody.
Yes.
What if we were to have a very small table set up with almost like a tree skirt type section of fabric with like a picture display of who it was with a small,
Like one of those
each
round-
person that comes to the table wants to pay respects, they can write on the tree skirt type their family member they've lost, and it kind of gives that recognition to their past ones, and it's not just gearing, it's teaching kids to remember people that have passed on and keeping the memory of them alive. I know, like me, I struggle,
So
my
get, like,
grandmother died really young, so I wasn't able
markers
to
and a white
have
tree
that. So
Stars,
the
too.
holidays hit harder for me with her.
A tablecloth would be.
A white tablecloth with fabric
What were
markers.
you saying?
I was saying like a tree skirt type thing where each year, we could put around,
we could put it
or
around the
display it
tree.
somewhere.
That would be so
Afterwards, this could be the first year.
Right, and
But if we put a white tree skirt around the tree and we get bad weather,
We don't-
Well, I was thinking you could do
Sharpies,
red
You know,
with
you just get a Sharpie, I
black
mean.
Sharpies, but yeah, then
I would probably do it on a, I would
do it on a table.
I would do it a tablecloth, that way we can set up like one of the long tables or something, and we can have it inside, people can write on it.
that would be cool.
Okay, so we'll do family.
And each Christmas season, from that point until January 1st, it's on display
What about
for the families to be recognized.
Tablecloths for where they're doing the dine-in, and we could put them on there and put the Sharpies on those tables and
Well, the food
have
would
2
get
or
on
3.
it and stuff, so then you might
Yeah,
have
we don't
food
want
all
something with
over it.
food on it.
All right.
So I would probably do it in here, like against one of the
Just
walls or
kind of a
something.
thought to
That would be really
recognize
cool.
different-
Yeah, because the
loved
table,
ones.
you could put like the cookies or the ornaments that we're passing out to the kids on that tablecloth or something afterwards.
Because, I mean, after so many years, we're gonna end up needing more anyways, so it would be a nice remembrance, I think,
And
yeah.
it's gonna be short-lived, it's gonna last a
I
season,
wanted-
right? Because it's gonna be.
Well, I mean, if it's Sharpies and
Well,
hung.
no, if it's in, on the table, we wouldn't end up putting it on a tree skirt, it wouldn't go out on the tree.
Yeah, so it's.
That way, every year we
displayed
can,
somewhere in here or something for the
I like
month.
the tablecloth idea, I think, better than the tree skirt.
Yeah.
Only because you get more mileage, we're gonna get more,
How about not even a tablecloth, but some sort of a tapestry that we could hang up?
ooh, what if we do just,
Something with Santa Claus on it? You guys are great at the cricket thing.
Say.
Some sort of
I like,
a tapestry that you could hang up and then they could write right on it. And then that's one of our decorations for the holiday.
we can hang the table, if we have like this perfectly squared rectangle. Don't laugh at me, I know a rectangle is not.
the corners are squared, the corners are
All
squared.
we need to do is make like a little, something on the back for the pool to go through, right? And then we can hang that on the wall.
Yeah.
So we can stay with, the tree skirt is awkward because of the shape, but the tablecloth would hang down vertically, and we've got all of this wall space.
There's probably any number of Christmas-themed tablecloths that would work.
Yeah.
So and every year we could hang the one from the year prior and have a new one.
Or
And
just
it's
fill
already
it up and then hang
keep
it up
putting it up
after.
until it's
They do
full.
have, look on Amazon also, I know I've gotten plastic, they'll like hang up for the kids for their birthday parties, and say but they might have Christmas ones too.
I wouldn't want to do the plastic. 'cause
They
I'd
even-
have-
Well, they don't just have plastic, they have cloth also, so that just might be something that would have a picture of,
They even have shadow boxes
Christmassy
that,
type one.
come with all like little heart shapes, or we could find one that, see if there's Christmas, and they just write the name on the little heart or the tree and put it right into the shadow box. Cause then you could just hang the shadow box full of all the hearts or trees or whatever together in the box.
I think we could go in a million directions on this.
So we'll look into that. Let me see, I want to look up and see.
well, I thought it was, the last name was Swan.
She didn't tell me what the last.
I wanted to find out, did you find out what year it was that they started? So that's
in the
what I'm
80s.
trying- Yeah, but we don't know what year. If it's
That's-
who I thought it was, I thought it was his anniversary last year of 30 years, but
Someone like Rob Dodson, who's lived here his whole life, might know.
I tried to, I
No,
just
I'm
found out
finding out
about this.
because she's on the board.
Oh,
She's on the board from the church.
The sister's on the board?
The sister's on the board. I was trying to
I was asking
see,
everyone last year who it was.
no, the sister's on the board over there, and then I was looking for,
It was the year that he died or the year before he passed away?
Okay.
I
Melinda.
got only pieces of the story, and I was trying to find out who it was because I wanted to do a tribute to him. I wanted to invite the family.
well, so this is the story that I've gotten so far. We're trying to get more detail from the story. And it says, this was the email straight from Melinda in the history of the Christmas tree lighting to one of the other board members over there. I started the Christmas tree lighting back in the 80s in memory of my brother who passed away from leukemia. My family, along with all of Treadwell, the 4-H, and the Acton Cub Scouts would decorate the tree. I would have the tree donated by someone in town. The fire department would cut and deliver to the town hall. We would serve homemade cookies, hot chocolate, and eggnog. Santa would come on the fire truck to the town hall. So many people and children would attend that all the driveway would be filled. I did that for many years until I moved from Acton. It was a great event and had such wonderful memories.
And that's what she's done, is she's passed it on to different people that she knew would keep it exactly the way it was.
Which is-
Or not exactly, but.
Modify it to what we, which is why I wanted to see if the Girl Scouts would like, because we don't have a Cub Scout group, but if we have our Girl Scouts, it kind of keeps that tradition alive, where I'm assuming her brother was probably part of the Cub Scouts.
What happened to the Cub Scouts in Acton?
I don't know.
There's just no troops right now.
TJ, you want to build that thing up?
I am gonna see what this plate looks like this winter, and I'm gonna go from there.
But, all right, so,
Oh, one alibi, wrestling
Girls
match.
troop.
oh yes, we need to figure out,
We ask principal, or I can ask director.
yeah, you can ask Christie when you're there on Tuesday if we can store it in the gym.
In the back left corner, it looks like there's plenty of
She's
room.
the one that actually.
Yep, ask Christie if we
Get it
can.
out of their storage.
It's just,
So the Cub.
because the rivets need to be.
But there's like a troop in Lebanon.
Silicone, whatever, we spring,
You can
we
spend
end
it
up
on
because
troops.
I don't want it to get ruined up there.
We could.
No, I mean, there's been quite a few people that have asked about, yeah.
I am
know.
like fully saturated with
I know, we've been doing Girl
coaching,
Scouts since. I hear ya.
repping the board, like, I'm taking now small bites, because I took one big bite, and I know, because I go to their Cub Scouts in Lebanon, it is a lot of planning.
It's a lot of work.
I can't work full-time and take on a Cub Scout troop right now.
All right,
That's why we only have two.
so we'll look at 11:30 on the 20th. And then, because I'm going to cut it short now. It's over 2 hours. It was really, when do we want to look at having our next meeting?
So, can I ask, what time do we want Amanda there for? So she usually comes, sets up, well, in the past, she only came and set up for that, and it wasn't very long, so she's not used to coming for any long period of time. I can ask her if she can, but I know.
Ask her if she'd be willing, and maybe if she's willing to maybe get a couple pictures throughout the event itself.
Yeah, I know she works sometimes on weekends, so last year I know she came right from work, so.
See what her availability is and see what she's willing to do. And then I'm gonna contact James this week and find out from him, make sure that everything is still kosher. And then I'm going to, otherwise I'll look into another option.
I'd say the
He
13th
said he
then,
was
so that
good.
we can finalize our stuff before we meet with them.
Okay, so, hold on, let me,
And I will not be here on the 13th, that weekend, I'm away.
so let's see.
What are we?
We're meeting that weekend.
I'm just thinking to meet before we meet with them, kind of finalize our end before we're adding more.
I know, I can't be here, and I'd really
So
like to
the
be.
problem with doing a weeknight is we have a few members over there that can't drive after dark.
I don't
No, for
think-
our next meeting
Oh,
together.
our next meeting, yes, our next meeting we can do. Just let me know when you want.
I can't do that weekend, and if we're doing a meeting about the tree lighting, I'd like to be here.
For the next, our regular meeting, we can do, I don't know when we should, I want to try to do something before basketball. I'm trying to look at a day that I know he doesn't have a game to go to.
Yeah. You don't, I'll be transparent with you. It'll be easy to figure out.
Can we, do you guys want to look at trying to do like a Wednesday night?
I'm fine with
Wednesday night here?
Yeah. Oh, crap.
Selectmen's meeting.
Never mind, take that back.
Let's say I have volleyball 7 to 9 Wednesdays.
How about the 10th, right before Veterans Day? I think that's the Thursday
can't
before Veterans Day.
Do though.
November 10th? You can't do the Thursday?
No,
No, she's gone that weekend.
We're gonna be away.
All right.
What are
You racing again?
What
Yeah,
days?
what are your openings?
That weekend, that from Thursday to Sunday, we're away that weekend.
How
So
about the
everything else is
7th?
good?
Yeah, pretty much.
7th would be 2 weeks from now, which is a
November
Monday.
7th, Which is a Monday night, yeah, as long as
Oh,
it's
it's be a
down
week
to
away.
5 o'clock or later, I can't.
It's a week away from now.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
We need 10 days.
So the 14th.
So we'd be looking at the 14th as the earliest. Well, because it'd be, what, think of Tuesday will be the day she can announce it, so 1, 2.
Say
oh, so
Mondays,
We would be able to look, the first would be that weekend, the holiday weekend, so it would be that following Monday we could do or so.
Mondays I'm in
14th at
counseling
5?
6.
Okay, so we wouldn't be able to.
What time do you get out of work?
For Mondays?
Yeah.
Mondays I have counseling from 5 to 6.
Can we do,
What time do you get home from work?
can we do Tuesday?
Tuesday the 15th?
Tuesdays, if it's after
The
5, because they
town,
have
this
physical therapy for the
is
girls.
used on Tuesday for Girl Scouts, the younger group,
Oh, okay.
at 5 o'clock, or 5:30, something like that.
I said Thursday, the 17th.
Thursday, Virginia, you know the schedule of this place a lot better than us.
Usually is a meeting Thursday, definitely Wednesday at night,
Okay.
And then,
Mondays and Tuesdays. Every other Tuesday is the Girl Scouts.
and we were trying to do the other Tuesday, but we're not booked, because
So they're giving us a hard time for doing the weekends, when that's really the only availability.
what about downstairs?
Space
There's
is
nothing
available
downstairs?
Friday.
What about downstairs? Can we use downstairs? We have in the past.
I don't know. I've always been told that I just had to ask about this room.
But all the AV equipment is here.
Yeah.
Well, do they do any
If we
meetings
do a
downstairs
Monday
anymore?
at 6, would that work, or a 6:30?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go anything lighter than 6.
All right.
At 6:30 is when I start doing the bedtime routine, because I'm up getting ready for the bus at 5.
This may not be helpful, but we can do,
Fridays I'll be out of, I won't be available for Mondays and Fridays after the midpoint of November. 'cause
You can't do a
wrestling
6
starts.
o'clock?
Anything after 6 I wouldn't be able to do.
But can you do a 6 o'clock?
I can do a 6.
What, Monday at, maybe that Monday at 6? What time do you get?
I get out of counseling at 6.
Where?
It's telehealth, it's on the phone.
so you're
I
20
mean,
minutes.
if you were a few minutes late, would that be okay?
And that's like 15 minutes. I mean, yeah, that's fine. I can also cut out with her 15 minutes early if I need to, if I just tell her.
Okay. So we're looking at the 14th then?
14th at 6.
14th at 6?
We're not available Sunday through Saturday for the rest of the month next month. I'm just kidding, sorry guys.
I was like, what?
Not funny.
Would it be wrong if we just threw something at them? At him, not you. Okay,
Wait till the camera's off.
no way. 11,
All right,
14
so the 14th,
at 6 PM. And then we're looking at the 20th would be our combined board. Because at least on the 14th, we can go forth with what we've got planned for basketball and what we're looking at for basketball. And we'll,
And talk about finalization of Santa and.
yeah, we can talk about what we find out from Santa, but we don't want to do, I'm afraid of doing too much in regards to the Christmas tree lighting at the next regular board meeting because we're going to be having that big one coming up and I don't want to leave them out of the wind too much.
I don't think we really need that many meetings for the Christmas tree.
I think we just need to come up with a schedule
Yeah.
on who's gonna be on the stations and
Yeah.
Yep, and that we won't,
things, and we should be fine.
yeah, and I don't want to, yeah, so if we can leave that until the 20th, that would be awesome. Just because I
Well,
know,
then we'll know so much more once
we'll know about the kitchen, we'll know about,
finalize our
Right.
plan then and get a shout out, and that's, a couple weeks before, I think that's fine.
Yep, and I'm waiting to hear back from Dan from Mary Grant because he's interested in coming to give us a hand wherever's needed as well. I just have to find out from him if he's definitely available or not.
That's
One
a really
year
nice
they-
partnership.
They did do, music, like a little band, the people that were, well, it wasn't through the rec at that time, but I don't know if there's anyone around that does.
Yeah, we got shut down for music for ourselves, so maybe we can ask a band if they want to come, hang out.
Say through
Is
the
that what
middle school band.
Is that what you were just saying?
we didn't get shut down.
She's just starting to do
Cross-producing our own
woodwinds now.
month
So
of
I don't know if they'll have, I can ask her, but I'm not sure if they'll have the,
Or high school, maybe high school band or something. High school or middle school band,
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
and interested.
Would it be counted as community service hours for them?
I would think so.
A band?
I don't know if it would be really community service. I think that's walking that thin line there. Because they're coming to do a performance or whatnot, but they're not actually coming to help per se.
That feels like help to me.
But their presence would be help.
I know.
They just had people that would play in music, Christmassy music that
Doing
was
that, that's more of like a.
set up.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You can perform in front of people, that's more of like, I did marching band and I did band throughout high school.
Yeah.
To be able to perform at an event, that's like a privilege, like.
Yeah, that's not a volunteer.
As students, that we got to perform, when you do band, you want to do it to perform.
Yes, you want to be in front of people.
Marching band, we
What?
gotta go to parade,
Well,
we were excited,
this
we
is-
had paid to do parades, because that's what we wanted to do.
This is
I don't
overreach.
see that as community service.
This is
Yeah, that's
overreaching,
true.
but wouldn't that be cool if they escorted Santa over?
Well, say Kenny, you think.
Oh, have like our little parade?
Kenny Bunk Tree
band
Lighting has their
escorted
select
Santa
choir
over?
there performing.
Well, that's
I mean,
why I was
if-
thinking we could ask Terry if we can get some, people from the church choir to sing.
Terry's not affiliated with this church right now, is what I understand.
No, she's affiliated, she's just not on the board.
Still is?
Yeah.
I thought she was going to another church right now.
From what I've understood, she's there because she's still with Carol.
Any church that, and it doesn't even have to be a church, people who like to sing,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't
Oh,
want
yeah.
me leading the song, right? But if we had.
No, Terry's awesome.
Have the marching band come.
If you get
But
an
if
adult, I'm sure Jordan would help. I don't think Jordan wants that pressure. She's
No.
like,
I like
Well,
the
you could
idea
do
of trying to
one
do
or
a
two,
parade
but-
coming over.
Or you might want to ask Terry first, since she's been helping us out for the past couple of years, and then go to the band. Possibly if Terry can't do it, that's just,
Well, that means she'd have to find people to be able to completely collaborate an entire group.
no, I mean just Terry to master.
Oh, yeah.
Master ceremony and start the thing.
Well, it'd be kind of cool though if the band was able to escort them over and then instead of having music in the back, have her sing to the music the band's playing over here.
They all sound like great ideas.
Yeah, I just don't want to exclude her.
No, we're not gonna exclude Terry, we're gonna use Terry, Okay, so we will look at, the 14th, I'm going to send a message off to Jen to see if we can use that day. And then we will look at, the 20th, as long as we can get the availability in here as well. to be able to do the meeting with the church. And then as soon as I can get more information, we'll also look into seeing what we can find to be able to hang something so that everybody can have their remembrance. Oh, that was the last thing that we wanted to ask. I know we talked about in the past years having that, we had that table that was set up that kids got to come in and buy like
That
a quarter or
wasn't
something.
through this.
That
That
wasn't-
was through the school. There was a
Okay.
little confusion there. That was something that the school did, the PTG did with the kids at the school.
Now
But
that's,
what she was saying was to incorporate it into the tree lighting, but that was never done
no,
for the tree
that
lighting.
would be kind of cool to incorporate into the tree lighting and have everything like maybe a quarter.
Why not?
They can come in, they can, because
Where are we gonna get those?
we can post out a thing looking for donations from anything that people have that are knickknacks around the house.
Are you stealing Terry Minahan's thunder by doing this? Because she's kind of doing, you know, this gift sale.
No, that's, the gift sale, that's the kids' stuff. It's all kids' toys and whatnot. This would be giving the kids, because there are so many kids that get the excitement of being able to go out and buy a present for mom or dad. So knowing that all they need is a quarter, and they can come in and they can buy anything that's on that table,
I
I wouldn't
wouldn't do it
put
the
that
same
out
way.
there until we saw if we could get donations for it first. Make sure we could get donations before we put that out there, because I don't want them to come.
maybe that'll be
I think it
something we'll
would
look at
add
for
too-
next year.
I think it would be
Maybe next
adding
year.
too much. I like the idea.
Come back in, maybe completing the circle of bringing in the community, and this puts you on the spot. What if we did that at Barn Lights during your craft fair? If we had a little table.
That's what they did at my church. We had the church fair.
No, I like that idea.
That's a great idea, and just keep it away from the wreck and the tree lighting.
But you've got a lot of people coming in, and maybe some of your vendors might put a little trinket on the table, and that would just kind of help the cause a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, a kid's table at your thing, that would be ideal, really.
They did that at my church. Yeah.
And it doesn't mean you have to do that this year either, you could do that next year.
We can do that this year.
You know, and maybe
Right.
as a board, we can all bring a trinket to add to that table.
Yeah.
Because
People can donate.
for the thing, because there are so many kids that come through, and some come through with Grammy and Grandpa, some come through with
At
mom and
your
dad.
event.
Yeah,
Yes.
4 or 5.
Yep. So that would be awesome if we can get a variety of options, and people that are coming for the craft fair that are setting up, and we have like, what, almost 40 vendors that'll be coming, maybe they have something at home that they are just
Yeah.
having take up
And you could-
space, but they don't.
You know, just dust it off, so you're
You
okay
could
with
keep
use
it,
that.
for the
Oh,
money
yes.
that you get, you can keep that money separate from your donation and do that, purchase some stuff the following year with it. I mean, then.
They did that at my church. We had a table that was just for the kids to go and pick out gifts for different
Yeah,
people, and it
and
was
that would be-
like super cheap.
That would be different, because they're coming in at all different times versus coming here and the kids. Yeah, I think it would be much.
Yeah, I like the idea. I just didn't think the tree lighting would, I
And
think
it's
that would
all
just be
festive,
too
right? It's
much.
all that buildup.
Yeah, and if we're, I mean, if a kid, because, I mean, some of the things I would think maybe $1 for or whatnot, but in my mind, I'd like to keep everything at 25 cents, just to make it easy.
Or what, see what you get for donations,
Or
and
just
then.
have
Or
that
you could
big
just
deal.
pay what you can.
Yeah, it doesn't have to.
I don't like that pay what you can thing.
Because some
I
people
don't
take
care for
advantage
that.
of it.
I always feel like I need to pay way more than I.
But
I'd like a
quarter is not, I mean, that's a really low bar, so if we get
A quarter donation.
$1 instead, then we're up 75 cents.
Yeah, minimum a quarter or donation, you could say. I mean, but, because if someone, those people, some of those things are.
Some of
they
them are
may-
more.
Yeah.
But if we can do, because every vendor already has to give us one item that goes onto our raffle table.
These were little things.
All right.
These are just little trinkets, like,
But then we don't want to ask them.
No.
no, like, I wouldn't ask, I mean, unless it's one of our candle makers or something that has something small that they want to put on, that maybe is a tea light or a
But even if you just
vinyl
shot an
thing. or-
email to everyone, hey, this is what we're doing, if you're interested in joining, that way it gives them the chance to do some, get their name out honestly, it just gets their name out more.
Because they can throw their,
Xboxes and.
no. We're looking for a trinket that the kids can come through and pick up and give to mom and dad.
These were like things like costume jewelry, costume earrings, costume bracelets, you know, a comb, a little.
Preferably an unused comb.
That, you know, people have donated over time, and, I mean, it wasn't a lot, they're not big, and you
Yeah.
don't really necessarily want to have big items, because then it's not fair for the kid that grabbed that big item. Then
A coffee mug,
Yeah, little.
the dollar store mugs.
A Christmas tree coffee mug, or, you know, I mean, and I certainly can donate stuff, because I have stuff.
I mean-
And some of the stuff was used, some of it, most of it wasn't. but-
Martini.
And if somebody wanted to buy something to donate, you can go to the dollar store and there's,
Dollar Tree has, $1.25 Tree has a lot of stuff.
so, okay, so we'll look at doing something like that. Maybe we'll do it's anywhere from 25 cents to $1 per item.
Things like, it was interesting.
And then we can
Things like
take
masking
that
tape.
fund, whatever we have, and we'll
You know,
put it towards
and
next year
just,
doing that.
This may be unpopular, but most of the boards that we've been involved with, you know, there's a financial expectation. And it could be hundreds of dollars, it could be thousands of dollars, it could be tens of thousands of dollars. But maybe if we all kicked in like $5 or just did like a little shopping spree, you know, then next time you're in Walmart or the Dollar Tree, just buy, you know, a couple little things. And then, you know, you buy 3 things and I buy 2 things and you buy 1 thing. Then we really,
It'll add up.
that grows the table.
Well, and
And we can save, I'll put it in a tote, so anything that's left over from this at the craft fair, I'll put in a tote, and we'll save it and do it again next year.
We have your little prizes. What's in your bin? Not all of those prizes went. Is there anything left over from Mary Grant that we could put out on the table unless you had another use for it?
Oh, those are all the kids' prizes that we do for like the kid functions, so those wouldn't be gifts to give to parents.
Well, not necessarily parents,
Say
but
siblings,
siblings.
though.
We did parents and siblings, so you could buy for your immediate family when they did it at the school, and,
Because I know all that's in, like, we've got light sticks, I mean, there's all toys, there's coloring books, there's.
yeah.
I was
so
saying, 'cause
they
I
buy
know,
a
like,
light
my
stick for their
kids-
little sister and wrap it up themselves for their little siblings, and we even did, I mean,
Oh, that was
all the
another thing, a
parents
wrapping
used to
table.
volunteer to do wrapping, and we sat there and wrapped for the kids.
Yeah,
and
that way if
it
the
was
kid
really
bought something they
cool.
didn't have.
And they used to have Santa there, they got their picture taken with Santa at the school, and you remember doing that?
Well, like, I know, like, my kids,
Yeah, they had tables. The problem is that it was all stored downstairs, and then it was like, at the beginning, the stuff was like really nice, and then I remember one of the teachers saying, we have to store this down in the basement, and when you start building up, you need more storage space. So it's like, and then the stuff started smelling like the basement, and that's when they stopped. It was, I think,
Oh, and-
stuff got wet.
That's another question I have for everybody. I'm looking at, or I want to look at, I haven't looked at the pricing yet, I want to look at the pods.
A what?
The pods, until we get a storage pad, until we get a shed built.
What's the deal with the shed?
I'm waiting to hear back from, I've reached out to him a couple times, he's waiting to hear back from his supplier for materials.
I'm sorry.
Maplestone, the school on Milton Mills. Yep.
Is that what we're going with?
I think that might be where we end up going with, they're donating all of their time and everything, because the kids need to have so much community service, and this goes to the community service. They build it on site, we have another thing on the field that was from Maplestone, so depending on what the materials cost would be,
What's in the field from Maplestone?
the dugout.
Do we have a name on that?
It says that it's small.
Oh, we do, okay.
Yeah, because otherwise, I mean, we could spend, I think the cheapest price that I got was 9,000 for one of them, so if we can go, you know, a lot less and be able to budget it in properly for this year without having to go to the select board and say, hey, we need more money.
So we're not going to do it, it's not gonna be in this fiscal year, or it is gonna be?
I'm hoping it's gonna be in this fiscal year. We were hoping it was already going to be worked on by now, but they're still waiting to hear back because the supply and whatnot is so crazy still.
Everything's still in here now?
Everything's still in there, so that kind of brings me back to my thought was to look to see how much it is for a pod, to rent for a pod, to at least get stuff out of there for now, because the pod is at least secure as well, and they have them so that they don't get, they have, No, I don't think they're temperature control per se, but
To like
they're.
a storage unit for now, like the smaller, no, like going to a storage unit place, like some of them are like $10 a month for.
Everything's in plastic right now, so as long as we just kind of stick it at the door in there, I mean, does.
We can't have it at the door. I got yelled at for that.
Pretty potent in there though.
And it's
Oh, I know, I've been
It'll
going
go
in there
through
for
plastic.
It's gotten worse.
years.
Didn't we decide that we were gonna throw like 90%
Yeah.
of what's in there out?
So,
We've
yeah,
been
get a
going
very
through, as
small
every
unit.
sport goes through, we've been going through and getting rid of.
Everything, I mean, like I said, everything was separated, so, I mean, it's just a matter of running in and grabbing it. I mean, if you guys don't want to do it, I'll do it.
I've been doing it.
On a pod.
It's, but like our baseball bags, for example, they're not in a plastic tote, they're in a baseball bag, they're in the fabric bag.
But even still, you
What about
think of
putting
people
them
with
in big
allergies, like
trash bags?
asthmatics, even something that's been sitting in a moldy area, the
It's,
spores
even
are
being in
still
trash
gonna
bags,
be
it's
there.
still gonna get all that
It's still gonna
mycelium.
be there, it's still
Another
posing a
solution
risk.
would be to just take everything out of the existing shed, take everything out of the snack shack. That's the best building
Well-
on the premises, hold on, and we clear all of that crap out, then we can, there's no evidence of mice in there, it's weather tight, it doesn't stink, and then we clear out the existing shed. Could they just replace the doors? I think we could use the foam spray and sealer to,
The one out back, you mean?
yeah, and just kind of get that, get rid of the mice and just have the doors replaced.
You could soak cotton balls and peppermint all around in there and it would deter the mice from coming back in.
Well, I wouldn't, like, using that back one, I think it's ready to be,
In our campers.
I think it's ready to be changed out at this point. Like, I wouldn't mind taking, yeah, I wouldn't mind taking, like, the tables and that out of anything that we don't have to worry about mice destroying. I wouldn't mind taking that out of the snack shack and moving that over. Like, we can put the grill over there, we can putting all of that over there, and then putting, like, all of our stuff that needs to be encased for protection in the snack shack, because during the winter, we don't use the snack shack anyways.
Yeah.
Well, we do.
It's good storage.
That's what I was gonna say. We do use the snack shack for the ice skating rink. So that's what I was.
Flawed idea.
Yeah, sorry. That's why I was like trying to stop you.
So-
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. But in the other one, we had the grill cleaned, and unless we do something with the mice, they were living. I pulled it up,
I'm sure we
plenty
could
of them
go
in
through
there.
and we could
Jumping
try to
out all
tighten
over
up.
us.
We could tighten up to make it work. I mean,
And that's what, it needs no, the doors are literally.
Where are they
falling apart.
getting in? I can't see where they're getting in.
I can go.
So, okay, so we'll have to,
The doors aren't tight.
Is that what it is?
It doesn't take much. It could take a very small and they will squish their bodies through.
And
Okay.
you don't want to make it so much that it's compacted in there because the ice, they have to take out the ice rink thing and they do put stuff in there for the ice rink.
Yeah, that,
So I'm just,
okay, so before our next meeting, I'll come up with some other prices of things that we can do. Because I know there's also the storage unit that's right behind the bait shop too. Maybe we could use one of those storage units if they're cheap enough.
I'll say most of them are
maybe
pretty
they
cheap,
would
but
donate something to, he's usually full, but.
But I mean, looking at any of the options, even like a,
Does, storage units too, up on, right across. Right on the right-hand side up here on 109. It's behind his
you
house.
said there's stuff coming out for the ice rink? Why don't we
Yes.
put the ice rink stuff into the shack?
because
gonna be
it's,
using the
because then
shack,
you
where
have
it's
to
gonna
drag
have
it,
to
it's
come
too,
out to
it's too
make
big to go in the shack for one,
yeah.
and then you have to drag it all the way out to the basketball court.
It's all
And there's-
boards.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you don't wanna lug that stuff.
And the fire pit, and then they keep the, shovels. We do need to buy, purchase shovels for that, and we did have on the budget
Did you get rid
a,
of?
snow blower for the ice rink, and there is an electric, I mean.
Now, I've heard two things, that we had a gas one and then we have an electric one already.
We, Paul Thurston, last year got a snow blower from his neighbor.
You donated?
Yeah. Wow. I think Paul has it at his house, so he lives on Square Pond. So he and I were over there one day after a big storm, the two of us shoveling it off. He was talking about getting it, and I know, I'm pretty sure he got it. I sent a message to John Boutel about the liner, and I haven't heard back from him. Yeah,
We need a new liner.
Where-
That needs,
You know the sign?
For sure.
You know the
It's a yearly-
size?
It's a yearly thing. It's a yearly
yes, it's a
expense.
yearly thing, because there's all cuts around it. He was hoping that we could get 2 years out of it, but that's just a yearly thing. That's on the budget for
Yeah.
the ice rink.
Do you know the size?
We had small tables. I do not. The town hall did have the amounts that, I've never ordered it. Well, I gave him the okay to order it last year, but I've never ordered it. But that's just routine yearly.
Right.
Because
Well, the skates, all they have to do is touch it.
the tips. So we had on the budget that we had the shovels, and we had a snow blower, because there is one that John Botel has that is a plug-in one, but I can't imagine how it would work with, it would probably work in the surrounding area, but actually on the ice, don't you need something that's gonna grip on the ice for actual snow blower? No?
It looks like
I use it on our
2030 would be
driveway.
112.
And then table, we had a table on the budget, a round table, they wanted a round table to be able to
So I'll have to figure that
set things
out.
up on the budget.
I mean,
And
last year,
Actually, we got one off the side of the road that's holding up a lot better than I thought it would.
The glass
The glass one is
Yeah.
nice.
last year, John put
Probably
together
wouldn't
a
use
small
glass in
team
the
of
winter.
people.
No.
It's tempered. At home, everything lived outside. It was tempered glass, it was fine.
And there were, we did have tables on, I know you didn't use them or purchase them this year, but that's something else.
Yeah, because they told us that we could just borrow them from here.
Yeah, no, and then you go to the point that you can't get them, I've done
Yeah, that happened last week.
Yeah, and I had to get them from my house, so that's why we did put on the budget for a couple of tables. I think I had
This
3 or
is
4
synthetic
tables on the
ice.
budget, plus the round one that was
And their
asked for
panels.
the ice rink.
I don't know if it's something we'd want to consider.
But last year,
Wouldn't be
John,
very big though.
a group of maybe 5 or 6 of us, they asked for help with cleaning off, so.
Yeah, those big push shovels is what he wanted.
Well, that's good unless you're gonna afford snow, then those don't.
Well, I think we need a couple of different, then probably those plus a couple of regular shovels,
Yeah, I
because,
mean, we just all brought over our own stuff, and I know Paul likes doing it.
Yeah.
He will go there and do it by himself.
yeah. But we should still have that stuff as staple for, so someone goes there and they,
And
yes.
I'm still waiting for a response to basically make sure that all of us have the key to get into the shack and all of us have the key to get into the shed. Still waiting for that,
I mean, right now it's working because no one's gonna, there's nothing in there to steal.
but that, yeah. And then, let's see, I had one other question. Oh, porta potty. Do we have any other need until there's snow on the ground? Or can we send that porta potty back for now so we're not paying the $85 a month?
I think it's, I think it's fine.
We did not keep porta potty throughout the whole year. We only did as needed.
Okay, so we'll be looking at getting it again when we have the ice skate rink out.
We didn't last year.
I would be
There was
worried.
one there last year?
There was not one there yet.
I don't, yeah.
There
I
was
would
not one-
like to have one if we're doing ice skating.
That's what I suggested,
Yeah.
and everyone said, no, we don't need it because they're just gonna leave. If I'm there and I took the baby and put her over my arm to potty the last
No, but I would like to have
I
a porta
think we
potty there,
should.
just because if we have kids that are skating for 2 hours and they're drinking hot cocoa and they're drinking water and you get that one little kid that has a really upset tummy or the parent that has something wrong that gets that really upset tummy.
Yeah, by the time you drive home,
It's too late.
I think if we do a function, then we need a porta potty, so that's
If
my
we have,
opinion.
yeah, if we are opening up the rec and we're doing anything over there, I think we should have it.
But we
Okay.
never kept it there for, I mean, unless they're gonna give us a better price to
No.
leave it there. I mean,
I can ask them about it.
ask her, I mean, she even gave me prices about buying one, and then everyone was against that because if
You still have
anything
to pay for
happens.
service.
Well, yeah, but it's a lot. She was gonna give us one for like $300 and something to purchase.
$300?
Would she still empty it though, or no?
Used one, they would still empty it, but what was said that, one year that we, had someone come in, they covered it in mud, they came and cleaned it. One year, the year that someone stole the toilet paper, they came and replaced the toilet paper, so, you
If
know.
we
I
can
mean,
get one for $300, I think we're
at that
probably
time,
all
that's like
for it.
300 and
That's
something
like
dollars.
3
It was
months
a
rent.
used one, yeah, exactly. But
matter.
then we hold the liability on anything happens. If it gets tipped over, one of us is going up there and cleaning it out.
I've been
So
cleaning all the.
that's
I'll
they
do all
would
the dirty
still
work, don't worry
come
about
and clean it for a price. So that's in,
Gotta draw boundaries.
yeah, I know, exactly. That's why I was like, okay, thank you very
I got
much
you.
for the price. Wait, I got one more
I've done work.
question. We're done. What's the deal with the parking lot? What's going on with that?
Still waiting to hear back in regards to the permit.
Okay, so with that being said, the stuff's growing up right now.
They insisted that it's not going to be an issue if we don't get to it until next spring. And I said that the tree guys had stated it was going to be if we didn't get to it right away, and they said, nope, it's
Everything's
not gonna be a
thrown back,
problem.
that's,
I
it's
would-
gonna
yes,
take, you're
and I
gonna put
was
so much
told
more
you
money
need to-
going to clear it right back out
You
again.
need, yes, and we,
I already told them that.
but at least, I was told at least to cover it with grass if we're not gonna be using it. This is even longer than we wanted.
So,
I would say this.
I don't know if grass seed at this point would even grow.
I don't think it'll grow at this point. I think it's too late in the season.
I mean, I'm so disappointed in this. I am so disappointed. I pushed for that parking lot so much, and to see this happen is.
And we're still
is
waiting
beyond
for,
disappointing.
so
Not in your.
no, they lost the permit, or they lost the paperwork last time, so it's been resubmitted, so we're still waiting to hear back from it.
And what about,
Like months ago.
yes.
Like a month and a half.
So we need a permit, plus they're saying we need an engineer, is that correct still?
Not an engineer,
A what?
just the permit. We just need the permit to be able to move on. From what I've been told, we just need the permit to move forward.
Is that
It's-
driveway permit?
Yeah, to come off of 109.
Did the selectmen not say that we have to have an engineer come and design that? Are you sure?
From what I've
At
understood,
a
we did not.
selectmen's meeting, a selectmen's meeting that I had watched, you weren't there.
From what they've told me, because I figure they would tell me if there was something else going on with something that we were doing, and they have not told me anything, and I've talked to them about it a couple times.
Dan's got some.
Can you look into that?
Yeah.
Can we also, and this isn't like a town thing, I'm pretty sure it's a state thing because it's like State Route 109.
Yes.
Can we ask for a reduction in speed, like a quarter mile leading up on either side? I mean, that's not something that we can either say, yeah, it's a great idea, no, it's not a good idea, but it's not within our authority to do that. But that's a really,
Biggest signage.
I want to do bigger signage that's all field ahead.
something.
School though, we're done, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just-
it's
it's
a good
really
point.
fast through there.
Dan's got a question.
Well, one, I think on one of the select board meetings, they did mention where they want to start having engineers for any.
Yeah,
project. I think
and
the last one actually did got, but the other thing, I guess my thing is, do the select board ever come to your meetings or?
Nope, well, we've
Once they
had,
did.
Once, that first meeting.
we've
I
had
was there.
once,
Been here.
Kim is here, but she usually works on the weekends, and then, yeah, they've never come to any of our events.
I know, like, I've worked on this committee, Lori, and I will say, like, their lack of participation disappointed me, and still does. I don't think it would be inappropriate for the board to sign a letter or something saying, we're doing our best, but, and especially this road, Lori's been working on this for so many years and had it in the budget. She's worked her butt off to try to get this, and I just think it's detestable that these select board people cannot show up to talk to you and share this information, and because you all have a wealth of knowledge. I've seen the work that this committee has done, and I'm greatly impressed with the dedication. And I just think it's disappointing that these select board members aren't coming to hear what Lori's saying, what Sam's saying, what all of you were saying. So I don't know politics of the town in regards to this committee and the select board, but I think that you should, as a committee or something, say, this is something that's been budgeted, that's not been done, and like, there's a liaison to this committee. When you weren't here, the liaison, my personal opinion, they talk about like updates, they didn't even mention that you folks had an end of the year soccer thing, and I thought that was very sad, because you did such a good job and you worked hard. So I just think you need to reach out to even the chair of the select board and just say, we're working really hard and we're trying to do what the town's doing, but we need to see.
I'll give an alibi there, maybe we can, like, I'm always about compromise, maybe we lead to start a good relationship, sometimes you gotta make the first move with goodwill.
That
Maybe
we all
someone
show up.
Maybe me or Sam show up at the selectmen meeting. We start giving updates and then we put forward, maybe one of the selectmen could, because I know they're severely underpaid and overstretched. We're volunteers. So there's a lot of, maybe they just don't have the capacity to come there. I have no idea what I have no idea what their situation is, but
Weekend meetings.
I'm comfortable.
The problem is we don't have any weekdays that really work for everybody.
I don't know their
because-
situation, I don't want to assume, so I would like to just put forward,
But 3
hearing what.
years, a term, you're serving a term for 3 years, and how many meetings do you make? Or even different events, like, I get it, but part of when you run for a position in like public office, it's being that meeting.
Not just being at that meeting.
Sure. So there is, I get it, I understand, trust me, you folks all have schedules. I know your schedule, I see you're at all the events. You make that time, and I just think that
I'm willing to make the first move and go and update once or twice, and then
But
we put
you're
out.
not, Sam, you can't.
But I think we should come in as a unit.
Huh?
He can update.
Since when?
Why not?
He's a committee member, he's been able to go in and update, because he's done it once for me before, and he's argued with them about something for me.
I wouldn't
Okay,
say
well,
argue,
then when
just,
I
yeah,
went,
ask
I was
ask
shot
for
down, and I was told that I was not the rec director, and I couldn't speak.
I think it was because I was there that day. But it's, I know, it's a dynamic that needs to.
Yeah.
There was also a shift in leadership.
No, it's not against you. I was shut down right after.
No, I hear you.
We started with Tom, but she was shot down
Figure it
before,
out
she was
and
shot
go
down
from
after the change.
Totally shot down. I mean,
Yeah.
Let's figure out.
Told to sit
Can you-
down.
Can you reach out to the selectmen and say, are we allowed to update on other people? Or if you have to be there and go from there?
We want to
Go in as a joint team, we're all a team
You
going in together.
you as the rec director could request every 2 weeks you'd like to provide a rec update. Can any committee member provide that update?
And I wouldn't see why we wouldn't be able to, given the fact that it's coming from the board meetings themselves, and when you think about, like, look at the fire department, it's not always the chief that's here to update. He sends somebody else to update. So to me, it's no different than any other department.
Let's just ask and get it tacked down and go from there.
and one of the things without our liaison being here is they hear this much of what's going on and then shot it down. Like, we didn't, I've never, in this board, I've never gone to the selectmen to ask, say, if Terry Minahan could have those people come here and do a little skip. We, as a board, agreed on things, and
We are micromanaged beyond belief.
yeah, and that's not the, we're a board for a reason.
I know, we're a board for a reason.
We're all supposed to be able to come here together and agree on these things.
If we're all in agreement, they need to give us an exact reason of why they're shutting things down.
But, because all they tell me is it's not sport.
Selectmen to ask
But
these
sports aren't
particular
everything.
things.
They have asked us to focus on sports for the first year, which May is our first year. So as of May, we can look at adding other things. But we need to make sure that we have the staffing behind these other things to make sure that we're not overexerting everybody that's here.
That
Which is
makes
part of,
total sense.
yeah, which is part of what my plea went out looking for other coaches, because we have some coaches that do multiple seasons and they need to take a break, and
This is
That
real.
makes total sense, but to ask if, to ask if, like, per se, to ask if Terry Minahan can come here and put on a little bit of a play. Why did we have to bring that to the selectmen? That's the part I don't understand.
if I want to add anything beyond the basics of what we already have, I have to go to the board and I have to get their permission, which we have to bring it back to us, we have to vote on it, and if we vote on it, I still have to bring it to the selectmen, which brings me back to us being micromanaged. Instead of us being able to run our department and look at our department the way that we want to, we are being analyzed about every little thing. So if we decide to retract
I
something.
guess what we decided on is let's knock it out of the park for sports and we'll expand from there. We can sit here
Let's
and,
expand when I'm in the middle. There are more things that I want to be doing too, but I think.
But we need to focus.
let's focus, let's knock it out and they'll
makes sense,
expand,
except-
they'll expand the allowance.
Instead of everything half-assed.
Yeah,
Because
because to have to ask some of these minute things doesn't make sense. This
Yeah,
is
if the
not-
event is already approved, the
Right.
details should.
The details should
Unless
not,
we're
we should
paying
not
money to do
have
something.
And we're not
bring
paying,
that
it was.
to the board.
Yeah. And like, for example of how much we have to ask for, we sold out of everything in our snack shack.
Oh, yeah.
And it was gonna cost us $225 to replenish what we needed to be able to go forth with the following weekend.
So
I
what
had
I'm
to
saying
bring
is-
that up and ask.
If you're budgeting for something, I could see providing those updates, but if the event is approved and we're like, could we
That's
have a
right.
skit? That skit, we're not paying anyone to have a
Right,
skit.
and that shouldn't
So
be
that's not something that
you
really would
should
need to
have
be
go to
selectmen approved. Do you see what
Oh,
we're saying?
I see exactly, believe me, I've gone rounds. I've gone rounds.
No, I have too, but
Let's
I
make this
just,
simple, ask them if we can send a representative, or it has to be Sam, and let's lead. Let's go to their meeting a few times.
And see if we can get them.
updates, And then we'll talk in the future
Squeaky
about
wheel
them
get,
coming
the
here.
squeaky mouse gets the cheese, so if we keep
Yeah.
putting all over on them that, you know what, okay, well, we're showing our face, now it's time for you to step up and be there for us too.
Big projects that are gonna cost the taxpayers more money if it's taken so long for that parking lot to be put in, and like you said, it has to be cleared again, that's taxpayer money,
And-
that's not.
And
I've
I'm
been
sure they're
watching
not
the
sitting there
selectmen's
watching our meetings, so.
And
We'll have to watch.
And the worst problem too is, like with some of the stuff that we've done, I've always commented, I'd rather do this or this so that we're not costing taxpayer money. And I know Lori worked her butt off to make that financial aspect worth it for over there. And we've had one person that thought that that was already cleared before, that we've spent a lot of money over there, and they were very upset to see that we were spending the money again. I don't know where the truth lies in that.
what's that?
Somebody had said that we've already spent money to clear over there before,
In the past?
in the past. And that's what I thought, but I wasn't 100% sure, so, but that's kind of where it stayed, but somebody.
But now we're even looking
There
at.
are
now we're
that's
looking
gonna-
at that's
that
where we're
is
going.
going to need to be done
There
again.
are things that have been budgeted that
Never got done.
never got done, but that's, like, the soccer nets, those were budgeted in.
Yep,
And because of different circumstances and different people that just, I don't wanna say drop the ball, but that were on the lead for doing different things and it didn't get done. And those are some of the things, and those are why I pushed for a rec director, so that one person could do the things and follow up with the
Yes.
things that we all as a board
Agreed on.
agreed on and stuff. There's different circumstances as to why certain things didn't happen. I mean, I could go on and on and on, I'm not going to, but, there's a lot of things that ended up falling through the wayside. And we were at a point that it was not doing that. And now, nothing against you guys or anything, but like watching this parking lot, to me, it's, next fiscal year is gonna come and go, and we're not gonna have that parking lot done. No, I pushed to get, how many thousands of, what is it, $40,000?
41,000.
In our budget. This is the highest budget we've ever had for the Acton Rec, between the parking lot, between having a rec director, and just the general budget in place. And now to watch it not happening again is so disappointing.
And it's one of
So
those.
disappointing.
And it's one of those, as us as the board, we're kind of like this, we can't.
Except, I'm watching the selectmen's meetings, and the selectmen's meetings are saying that, but there's things that we could have done. We could have grassed it in order so the stuff doesn't grow up. It's another fee that we are gonna pay.
But the problem is from what I've been constantly told, is it was going to get done this year. So why would we spend the money to grass it if it's going to get done this year? If we were making.
Because if you ask the people that did the,
Yeah, but I didn't talk to them at all.
no, but I did, and
yeah.
I brought it to you to.
And I've brought that up, and they
Right,
kept
okay, so
on saying,
the
nope, nope, it'll
person
be fine.
that is the tree person that did the work is the person that said, this is what needs to be done if you're not going to use it, or else you're gonna be paying. Once they get to a certain point, we're gonna be paying to have it done all over again, whether they're 10 feet tall, or whether they're 3 feet tall. He said, you've got a good 3 months. He said, and after that, it's gonna start growing, and it can cause more, you have to spend more money to get it back, instead of just scraping it off. And the
The
root
only way to
systems and
save
everything else.
money would be for
And-
us to go out there and start ripping
Yeah,
up stuff.
and I mean, it was set, it was
Yeah, bring it
set, it
on.
was
I
supposed
don't
to be
mind
set
getting
to
dirty,
pretty
but-
much go the beginning of that fiscal year. I mean, this parking lot was supposed to be done, you know, before soccer season last summer. And now they're saying we have to have an engineer come in there we don't have a plan for an engineer. Has anyone contacted an engineer about
They
that?
didn't even tell me that we needed an engineer, so.
Wait, what
But
are we
that's-
engineering exactly?
Because I had already talked
The
with,
slope and what of the parking lot.
because I've already talked with Jason and I talked with David Winchell, and everything came back as we shouldn't have to worry about anything else. They've already marked off where we were gonna make the parking lot. It wasn't going to be able to be the exact full thing with what we had.
It's going to be done.
Let's go to the selectmen's meeting and figure it out. We can sit here and have hypotheticals for
Yeah,
this.
so,
Let's figure it out.
We've been here 3 hours.
Yeah.
yes, give me an hour long ago.
Okay, that was just my question.
All right, we're good.
Meeting adjourned.